welcome to the 88th episode of the Nerdom and Other Nonsense Anime Podcast. Today we are covering the 12th and final week of the winter 2019 anime season. Stay tuned for the end of the podcast where we'll be breaking down our final scores for the shows we watched this season, both for the podcast and outside of it. As always, we include timestamps in the description of the YouTube video and podcast feed if you only want to hear about one or two specific shows, because we spoil it all. My name is Leo, and now that this season is finally over, my heart is beating so loud that I can't hear the fireworks that Kat is setting off in my garage. Also with me are Bcom and Kat.
Hello.
Hey.
It's going off.
I like the first iteration with the tractor better. I have this wonderful visual of me just bursting into your bedroom, driving this tractor. Because everyone in the Midwest has seen like a drunken farmer driving his tractor to the store to get something, or like a lawnmower.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Because, you know, they don't have their license anymore, but they still got to get that beer. So, like, I'm just driving it, and I'm just setting off fireworks, like, into his ceiling. And he's just like, fuck! And I'm like, where's your God now?
Thank God I have insurance. But anyways.
That sounds very painful.
Yeah, there's no time for nonsense this week, guys, since we got a lot to go through. So let's just go ahead jump into Mob Psycho.
This is serious, you
Cut
guys.
the bullshit.
Come on. All right.
We have 2 episodes of Mob Psycho to get through. So let me kick it off with episode 12. The second to last episode, The Battle for Social Rehabilitation.
Okay, so let me just say at the beginning, it is at this point that Mob Psycho became a radical therapy show.
Definitely.
Like, for some reason, they just decided now Mob is like a traveling therapist who just employs like violent methods to get his clients to
psychic
accept.
Therapist.
Well,
Accept
it's
their
a
problems.
last cause for him to use violence, and he's very upset that he has to do so, but he will.
I just love the idea that he's like, let's talk about your divorce. Let's talk about your childhood issues. And the guy's like, no, I just want to fight you.
Pretty much. Like, he starts off this episode with the umbrella guy, Serizawa from Claw, who he confronts, and he like makes him let the prime minister go. He didn't even know he had the prime minister. He's just like, oh, nice to meet you, prime minister, and lets him go. And like his whole backstory is that he was a hikikomori who was like a shut-in, locked in his room, playing Bomberman, when the boss came to him and offered to teach him how to use like his powers. And he basically told him like, oh, if you imagine your umbrella is like the ceiling of your room, you'll be able to go outside again and move around freely and everything. That was like the basis for his powers. But Mob is like, he hears all this and tells him like, you know, you're just being used by the boss. And like, if you were going to like destroy the city like you have, you should have just stayed a shut-in rather than like accepted this deal. And they end up fighting over this, and Mob realizes he needs to get his like umbrella off of him if he wants to win. And so Dimple like helps like get that separated for like a second, but like the second the guy loses the umbrella, he like explodes with anxiety and gets it back instantly. And so they start.
He kind of made me think of the Penguin because he has an umbrella.
Oh, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, that's true.
I'm just imagining it's Danny DeVito instead of that guy too, and it's so much funnier.
Man, I like when I think about Danny DeVito being a hikikomori, I just think of all these scenes of him like crawling out of a couch from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And it's like, yeah, it makes sense. So yeah, like Mob explains like the boss didn't actually save him. He just fed him this false idea that he couldn't ever live on his own and kind of used it to control him instead. Like, Mob is really, like, a therapist now, and, like, Serizawa even calls it out. It's like, wow, you're like a counselor. And, yeah, he thinks he's better off because he's at least able to talk to people now and has friends among the Espers of Claw, which he never had before. But even Mob's like, nah, I have real friends now. I used to be like you, and I had, like, fake friends, and I know that your friends aren't real.
That's a little judgy, because, like, sometimes in between having real friends and having fake friends, you gotta, like... You gotta work yourself up, right?
Make
like,
some transition friends.
Yeah, like you know, you start small, you practice. So, like, he was a little judgy at that point. I was like, all right, Mob. I'm not sure being like, your friends aren't real. I have real friends is really going to help the situation.
Yeah.
What about rebound friends?
That's a thing too. Yeah.
So, but like basically Mob is realizing how similar he is to Serizawa, and his percentage starts like building up like the more he realizes this, and like he finally tries to break through by telling Serizawa that like I will be your friend. And like, but like right as he's saying this, like the umbrella guy is like firing his umbrella blast at Mob, like just as he hits 100% energy. And so, yeah.
Oh, I love his reaction. He's like, "Oh, I did hit you at 100% too." It's almost like, you know, when someone hits you on the street, like they bump into you with their shoulder, and they're like, "Oh my, I'm so sorry." It's like that.
Yeah.
Only like he hit him with a giant blast.
It is kind of, yeah, it's just like that. And like, it was weird. Like Mob like absorbed the energy, and like he kind of like just felt all of Serizawa's emotions through that energy.
Yep.
And then instead of like hitting him back, like he kind of like redirects the energy back to him, and like you see Serizawa like sense the emotions that Mob is feeling, and like they basically just understand each other at that
Well,
point.
it was like what he went through, because they were showing like flashbacks of, you know, all the shit that Mob went through, you know.
Yeah. Mob is like, I'm going to show you exactly how alike we are. And yeah, then they understood each other. So, meanwhile, like the boss is telling his son that like the 600 Esper soldiers he has were part of like this experiment on humans that he did to try to like unleash like latent psychic powers. But the experiment was actually like a failure. And he says that like all the powers that they have originated with the boss, Toichiro, who basically shared his own powers with them. And he says he can also absorb those powers back now that they've like all failed. So he starts like sucking his powers back to himself. And he tells like Sho like only one person can be the absolute protagonist of this world. And that's when Mob shows up. And so Mob confronts him for being like a complete asshole to Sho and to everybody else around him. And Torichiro's like surprised that Serizawa, the umbrella guy, lost to Mob. And Bob's like, no, you know, it's not all about winning and losing, bro. It's not the end all be all. And Serizawa told Mob that, like, if happiness only came as a result of the tears of others, then he would never wanted it in the first place anyway. And yeah, so Toichiro says it doesn't matter because he never depended on anyone anyway. And Mob's like, that's not true. Everyone grows from their encounters with others. Mob's like just really like chanting philosophy this entire episode.
I know. I'm just like, what is this? What have we become?
I mean, I get it. It's just like it's just so over the top. Like they're just it's line after line and after line of philosophy this episode. But Mob tells him he'll regret not having a friend to talk to one day, and like even in this case with Torichiro, Mob like reaches out and is like, "I'll be that friend if you need that friend."
I mean, I even like philosophy, right? Like,
Yeah.
I enjoy listening to philosophy and anime.
We liked Planet With.
Yeah, I loved it. Like, I would go back and listen to the things that they said, like, over and over and think about it and be like, whoa.
Yeah.
But, like, it just seemed a little cheesy.
It was a bit cheesy, but I guess that's kind of how Mob Psycho is in this anyway. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Mob gives Sho some energy because he was like unable to move, and so he gives him some energy just so he can like get out of the building. But like when Toichiro sees that Mob has like a similar power to him to like give energy to others, he realizes like, oh shit, this kid could be like my mortal enemy. And then they start to fight. And like so Torichiro like punts Dimple out of the building, and he like lands back with Reagan and some of the other scars. And Reagan is basically explaining that like, yeah, Mob has this great quality of, you know, being a badass psychic, but also his most important ability is his like uncanny ability to just say exactly what he's feeling, like, and have that like feeling get through to people and change their mind. And so, as he says that, Mob and Torichiro are arguing more about morality. Before they eventually start to fight, and like Mob is losing pretty badly when Reagan just shows up with a gun, and he fires a bullet at the boss, right? But it's like easily deflected. But then he drops his gun, and he uses something much more powerful: his wits. he starts to convince Toichiro that there are powers other than ESP that he doesn't know about, and he can think of at least 4 ways to defeat the boss, like just off the top of his head. And he starts like walking towards them, and the boss is like, all right, tell me about one of these 4 ways. I'm interested. And he's like, well, the first one is brute strength, you fucking idiot. He tries to punch him in the face. And the boss is just like, okay, you really pissed me off now.
Well, it's just like someone out of high school coming to you and being like, and I'm going to give you a wedgie. And you just being like, no. Like,
Yeah. So he unleashes like this huge fire blast at Reagan, like lets all of his energy free. But the smoke clears to show that Serizawa protected Reagan. He jumped in front with his umbrella, which is his umbrella got like destroyed. And he's like, I just wanted to be courageous for once, boss. I tried it. And so Mob's had enough of this bullshit, and he goes 100% again. But this time he has like an added like rage modifier. And I was like, no, don't become the shield hero, Bob. And then
oh my god, it's actually pretty
Yeah.
But yeah, the other guys are thrown from the building and saved by that plant dude, Minagishi. And then Mob and Toichiro like face off for the final battle. And that's where the episode ends.
Yep. And then...
Yeah.
So... Torichiro and Mob, I kept calling him the evil guy when I was writing this because I couldn't for the life of me remember his name, which tells you something about this fucking show in general in this arc. So it's Torichiro, I guess. So they're fighting, and Mob's like, I will hit you with everything, all my power and rage. And I'm like, okay, when did this turn into like a Dragon Ball Z thing? Or
Right?
actually, like in Yu Yu Hakusho, there like Genkai has that exact line at one point. So I'm like, did you turn into Genkai? Mob laughs kind of evilly during the fight, and it's not at all like normal behavior, and it's kind of weird, and his hair is very different. It always weirds me out when he changes his hair, because I imagine him as this guy with like the bowl cut. It almost seems like he's a different person when he changes his hair.
Well, he definitely looks a lot cooler.
He does look cool.
But Torichiro says, like, you understand now, Mob. You have been freed from the shackles of expectation. And Mob is almost like agreeing with this in a weird way and like laughing. But then his brother runs in and is like, Mob, no! And like this snaps him out of it. And he's like, I'm ashamed. I gave in to the power. And it's all very dramatic. And the evil dude's like, you're unstable at this rate, and you'll never catch up to me. And I'm thinking, like, okay, so since he's not a psychopath and has emotions, like, this is suddenly a disadvantage.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah, it's weird. So, Mob... I don't know. So Mob's like, you are very unlucky, Torichiro. You seem so empty, and this seems very unlucky to me. And Torichiro disagrees and is like, I'm the fucking luckiest person on the planet. Look at all the power I have. And Mob's like, well, I guess you're just lacking in bonds, and like your life is empty without them. And then, of course, he gets into like counselor mode. And he's like, I lived like that too. I understand your pain and all that bullshit. Like trying what he did in the last episode on a bigger scale. And everyone is just standing around watching them fight. And I just thought to myself, like, why are they just standing there? Like, wouldn't you try to help like some or something? I don't know. It just, especially his son. You think his son would be like, stop, Dad. Don't fight, you know, like something. But they're all just ultimate spectators. I don't know. And then at this point, the Torichiro like awakens, and his aura changes or something. And he like takes this giant ball of rubble, and it just like smushes Mob into the ground with it, and it's just like just grinds it into him. And Mob's like, oh, I don't have enough power to show you a new path. I'm so sad by this. And I mean, I would be like, oh, no, I'm getting my ass whooped. I'm so sad by this. But I guess we have different priorities. The evil guy Torichiro starts beating Mob up. And And Mob just, instead of being like, oh fuck, I'm getting the shit beat out of me, is just like, just keeps going on and on about like, I can't make you a better person. I guess I have to resort to the other option. And he starts, this actually was amazing. So Mob with his power starts twisting Torichio's hand.
Yeah.
And then like his whole body starts to be like twisted. Like, you know how you would with a dish rag?
Yeah.
Like you take
That's
it
a
and
good
you
way
just
to put
twist
it.
all the water out of it. And then his eyes get all fucking big and weird and creepy because he's getting like his whole body squished, I guess. I don't know. And it was really good animation. Like, it was just like, ugh.
Yeah, the animation out of the world.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah. And then Torichio's like, it appears we are both influencing each other quite a bit. And Mob's like, yeah, but I wish I would have been a good influence instead of like turning your body into a dish rag. And Mob's eyes are like red at this point. And yeah, so Mob starts to beat the shit out of him instead. And I guess Torichio at this point like releases too much energy, and it's almost like a nuclear reactor or something. Like it got overheated and now he's gonna like blow up.
Yep.
And Mob runs outside and is like, everyone, it's gonna blow. And I did notice the guy's son didn't seem too sad. Like
he seems pretty detached.
I know. Mom runs outside and he's like, your father is gonna blow up, and he's like, oh, okay, I guess we should get out of the way. And I'm like, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess he did just get beat up by his dad, so I don't know.
I mean,
But
I
it
think
just
he was
seems
kind
a
of
lot.
shocked by like, because it's his dad, but also he's an asshole and he doesn't know how to feel for a second, and then he's like, all right, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it's interesting. Then Mob goes back inside, and it's almost like he's like, oh, I'll explode together with you because this is my choice, which seems stupid. It seems almost like just, oh, instead of hurting you, I'm just going to die with you. That's dumb. In my personal opinion, that's stupid and a waste. But that's what
yeah.
he chooses. And at this point, you get these flashbacks of Torichio and his like ex-wife, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if they're still married.
It doesn't
Not.
seem like it, get based on how she like
She
reacts
leaves.
in that scene.
Yeah.
Because what is it like? He's like so focused on his power that he's like, everyone will follow me, and she's like, not everyone's gonna follow you, and she leaves.
Yep.
Yeah.
She leaves.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, I'm so sad. I still love her and all this.
Mm-hmm.
And then as he's exploding and Mob's trying to absorb it, Mob just is once again being like all preachy and is like, you should apologize. And then he's like, I also have something I need to tell someone. And then that never gets resolved, by the way.
Well, because they just explode. Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
they do. Yeah, it's weird. There's a giant explosion. He wakes up, and his like brother and Ray are over him. I guess he got buried in some dirt because they had to like dig him out.
It's
There's,
like rubble.
It's just his
Yeah.
eye peeking out of like one little hole.
Even though there's a giant explosion, it almost seems like nothing happened, which is odd. And there aren't any news helicopters around or anything.
Yeah, they're like, the helicopters are too scared, and I was just like, what? Like, they
Yeah,
would
it's
still
like,
be
no,
there.
I'm pretty sure it could be like a toxic waste dump, and there would be a lot of reporters everywhere. Reporters have no care for their own safety. But yeah, the blonde guy, what is his name?
Teruki?
Taruki, yeah. He floats him because I guess Mob can't walk anymore because he like released too much energy.
Mm-hmm.
And they float him like they're gonna go to Ray's house at first, and they stop at the school. They say to get some tracksuits to wear, but I'm like, why? Why did you need tracksuits?
Their clothes are fucking ruined.
I mean, but like they're not naked. Like I just don't think it's really a priority. I don't know. The captain comes out and is like, what are you doing? Blah, blah. Like, he thinks they're stealing the track clothes. And I guess the captain's like, oh, you don't have a house to go back to, and you're gonna stay with Ray. Why don't you stay with us instead, and we'll host you, and we'll have an ultimate day training. And Ray's like, yes, it's my chance to not have them stay at my place, and just like disappears.
Yeah.
And so now they're stuck at training, and everyone's like, oh, we regret this. And then they just have a bunch of like little end scenes. Like you find out there's a giant piece of broccoli in the sky where they had this fight, and you're like, what the fuck?
They explain it though, but like I was like, for a little bit I was like, why did that happen? I wish I had put it together faster because I would have felt smart. But
well, we're just gonna talk about it now because like it's silly to. So apparently Ray had like given those seeds to Mob, remember, from like way
the first
way
episode
earlier
or whatever.
The broccoli seeds, and they were in Mob's pocket, and so like when they're having that fight with all that energy expenditure, like I guess it just made it a giant like
mutant
skyscraper sized piece of broccoli in the sky. I don't buy that. Okay, so first of all, that was way in the beginning of this season.
Yeah,
like he would have washed that shirt by now. And from someone who has washed many a pair of headphones and shit in pockets of their pants and stuff, like that, it's not still going to be in your pocket. Let's put it that way.
I mean, it wasn't a little plastic bag, so maybe it survived some washes.
I don't know. I don't buy that. But I mean, it's cute. It is cute that they kind of did a callback.
It was fun.
Yeah. It's also just bizarre, and I love bizarre shit. Like, imagine there's just a piece of broccoli in the middle of the fucking city.
Like Tokyo.
You could almost be like, solve world hunger. Everyone come get some. Like, so then I guess the people who were like part of the villain camp who were researching how to turn people into espers, like they all decide to stop because it's dangerous to have people who are espers and could abuse their powers just hanging around.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a very touching scene and everything, but I'm just like, I'm sorry. Are we supposed to give a fuck about this? Because I don't.
That's kind of how I felt about the whole like ending part of this episode, where I was like, you just didn't know how to end this episode, did you? No. You could have ended it on such an awesome note, but you had this whole thing.
Esper kids who are like helping out that guy, but they're from the fucking first season that only showed up till the end here. I was like, why are they even in this show at this point? Yeah. They're serving no purpose.
Yeah.
It feels like a manga ending. And I'll say similar things about the very ending of Kaguya later, where it's just like, they could have ended this on such a ridiculously high note and gone out like with flying colors, but then they choose to do this shit to set up like the next season or something. Like, it's like, okay.
I mean, is anyone even going to be interested in the next season after this bullshit?
I think so.
They took this thing that everyone really loved. People were really into Mob Psycho, and because they were in too much of a hurry to get it out and get it to people and like cash in on that money, they fucked it up. And now people aren't going to be as excited for the next season. I mean... And they may have ruined the anime.
I feel like that's going to be a minority opinion, though. Like, you might think that about, like, how they handled, like, this final story arc, and I totally agree there are flaws with it, but it is still, like, one of the most impressive, like, animation productions that's ever been created for TV.
It's pretty, but I don't give a fuck if it's pretty.
A lot of people do, though. That's the thing.
It's gotten 8.99 on Mao, so...
People are dumb. Just because something is pretty doesn't mean...
99. Sorry.
I don't know. Like, it's better than the whole mess they did with Steins Gate. Like, at least it's better than that.
It's way better than that. Yeah.
But it's still a failure, in my opinion. And I am disappointed in the anime community as a whole that they only care about how pretty it is, and they don't care about the mess of a car wreck that is the plot.
I mean, there were a lot of like philosophical themes that I felt were strong in here, but they just weren't presented all that well. They were just all thrown out by Mob in like platitudes, which doesn't work very well for me. And I don't think that works for Cat either, right? Like, I think that was the difference with like Planet With, where it's like those people were saying philosophical lines, but like the situation they were in made them fit and made us like believe them. whereas like Mob just like chatting up with the boss and just like, I don't know, it just didn't come off genuine to me, basically.
Yeah, it didn't feel like they really, like with Planet With, it did feel very genuine. With this, it just felt like they were throwing shit out there to throw shit out there.
Mm-hmm. I kind of feel the same. Yep.
Yeah, they have a little flashback with the Scar people. Like, apparently they're good now, and they're going to try and make as good of it as they can.
Mm-hmm.
The evil dude, Tori Show, or whatever the fuck his name is, turns himself in, and his son is like, what's going to happen to him? And they're like, well, usually we just kill him, but maybe we'll use him as a test subject. And I love how they just say it, and like then the guy's like, maybe he shouldn't say that in front of his son, but his son did not once again look that upset.
He doesn't care about his father anymore.
He's like, well, I guess you may have evil experiments made on you. Have fun. Like, I don't know. And as he's being led away, he's like, I wish I could have seen your mom again. And I guess the son's like, maybe mom will visit you in jail. And I'm just thinking, like, no, that won't happen.
Probably not.
Mm-hmm. And apparently Ray got his insurance payout, so they're setting a new office up. And the umbrella dude.
Yes,
the umbrella dude is gonna work with them now.
I actually liked that because it's like, hey,
it was cute.
That was actually like a progression thing. Mob like really did change his mind. And he looks good. He looks handsome when he's not being an umbrella dude.
Cut off
when they cut his hair and he doesn't have a fro anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cute, I guess. And like, I don't know, it should be interesting. I loved the animation of him wringing his hands.
Yeah.
Because you could tell how much detail they had put into it.
God, yeah.
That's and I was like, it's a shame it's in this anime. But
yeah, I agree. Like all of this animation effort could potentially be applied to something more interesting, but still, I think Mob was interesting enough.
It's times like this that you wish there was like a weird board, like a creepy, like communist-esque board where they're like, no, objectively, this will be a shitty show. You're not allowed to waste resources on this. Like, you only can work on this thing because this is where we need you. The community has spoken, but like at the same time, these people have to be free to pick their own contracts and decide based on money, even if it means that we end up with bullshit, mediocre stuff that's animated prettily.
God, you're giving Leo just all these transition opportunities. It's dangerous.
I know.
Because I thought Leo was going to be like, yeah, the next show.
I just did that last episode.
Yeah, you did. I don't know. All right, let's move on. We have the final episode.
Thank God. I'm so happy.
I'm so excited.
I have tears. I'm so happy it's over.
It's in the Wind is the title of this episode because they're in it right now. Okay.
Fart in the wind is more like it.
So we got to wrap this whole thing up. Fujioka finishes the 9th leg of the race with a time of 1:09, which sets a new section record. That's like an hour and 9 minutes. He passes his sash to a first year from Rikudo who's named Minami, and like Haiji congratulates Fujioka saying like, I could never have caught up with you, and like Fujioka just says like, well, maybe Kakeru could, and but he asks Haiji like, how far are we meant to go? Is there even a finish line that lies ahead? They're being all philosophical now, and even though he says that, like he kind of says that in like a depressed way, like sort of like, well, it's just an unending battle running because there's always like a finish line somewhere off in the distance. You don't know where, and you just keep striving for it. And Haiji's like, well, you're not going to quit though, right? And like Fujioka kind of smiles at him because he knows he wants to keep going for it. And so Haiji admires how Fujioka and Kakeru push each other, but then he asks himself like, but what about me? As he's thinking about it. So Prince tells Haiji before his leg that he's actually had a lot of fun running, but he like then ominously adds like, so as long as you make it back in one piece, ... And at this point in the episode, I was like, oh my God, we're right. Oh, they're gonna fucking like make him limp to the finish line. Anyway, and so he catches himself and tells Haiji to just run as much as he wants. And Haiji's like, all right, I will. Meanwhile, Kakeru is experiencing something that's like beyond a runner's high, where he describes it like his body is, well, his hips are moving on their own, I guess you could say.
Oh, God.
And his consciousness is left behind.
Every boy has had that experience at one point or another. Oh, my God.
So, yeah, he's having a good time. And as Haiji sees Kakeru approach the handoff, he thinks back to the first episode when he saw Kakeru, like, sprint by, and the impact that, like, seeing that perfect running form, which has been always unattainable for Haiji, had on him. Like, he got, like, so excited about it that he almost wanted to scream as Kakeru ran by, is like how he says about it. And he like views his running form as like this perfect shooting star, this like straight white line just running into the distance. And like, yeah, so Kakeru passes the sash on, and as he does, Prince yells, "You did it! You did it! You did it!" And we see like the finish time for Kakeru, 1:08:59, 1 second ahead of Fujioka, taking back the course record, or the section record, just like he said he would. And so reporters try to ask Kakeru for like a comment, but he's like already sprinting again. Like he's not like, you know, everybody else on the team like collapses to their death at the end of their section.
And he breaks into another run. I was like,
he's like, "Oh, we gotta get running. We gotta go see Haiji's section."
Yeah, he's like, this ain't no thing. Like.
So, yeah, at the end of Section 9, Kakeru was in 12th place. And, like, so the team is in 12th place with an overall time of 10:06:27 for the entire race, which is 12 minutes and 34 seconds behind the leader, Rikudo. So, like, yeah, there's no way Haiji is making up fucking 12 minutes. It's not happening.
Which I was relieved at that point.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, okay, good. Like, instead, unless they strap rockets to Haiji's legs and they're like, and he made it. Like, we're getting what we wanted.
Yeah, what's his name from My Hero Academia with the rocket legs? Fucking
oh, God.
Ida.
Suddenly he just shows up and is like, you're going to win, and, like, grabs him.
That'd be pretty great.
Crossover event.
So they basically, like, shift the goalposts to have something that they can accomplish, and the coach tells Haiji that, hey, if we finish in the top 10, Kansei becomes a seeded school that has a spot automatically in the race. They don't even have to qualify next year. But what he has to do to get that is he's going to have to finish 1 minute and 2 seconds faster than Tokyo Sport University, and so that's going to be a tough regardless. Because they're like running behind him right now. And so Haiji, we see that his doctor gave him like these painkillers before the race and like basically said like, I can't tell you not to run too hard, but like don't push yourself. Your knee's like pretty shitty. And so several of the guys gather near the finish line, and Hana shows up and asks where Joji is. I wrote Jojo in the doc. That's hilarious. No, she asks where Joji is. And Nico elbows Musa and urges him, like, hey, fucking ask Hana what the hell is going on. And so, like, Musa goes up to her and whispers, and she, like, just acts, like, really shocked in reaction to his question. And that's all we get for now. We're going to get more later. It's infuriating.
Yeah.
So Tokyo Sport's pace is slowing down a bit. But Haiji looks down at his knee and it makes like a sound effect, like a rusty gate swinging back and forth. It's like, it's not doing so well, but he's still pushing it. And he flashes back once more to like high school and his dad, how his dad has sort of given up on him. And he remembers telling the coach.
I thought that
what?
The sound effect was amazing.
It was good. No. I mean, like, yeah. It wasn't like a joke or anything. It just, maybe it was like a little over the top that it sounded like an unoiled, like rusty gate. But I get it. It made sense. Like, it's like,
as
my knee's not working.
Had knee injuries in the past, it made me anxious to hear that noise.
It did. Yeah, I felt that too. I've had knee problems. So
when he started to have knee problems, I'd have moments where I was like, "Oh God, I can't watch. I don't want to see his knee get fucked up." Because
it reminded me of getting fluid drained out of my fucking knee at one point because it had swelled up really bad from running.
I've had my knee pop out of socket a few times because I'm double jointed, and sometimes my joints just do that. And there's nothing like having all of your weight on your leg and having your ball of your knee literally move over and pop out of socket.
Oof. That sucks.
To give you nightmares.
That really will. Oh my god.
So I thought it was a pretty effective sound effect. It was good.
Okay. So yeah, Haiji remembers telling the coach at Kansei when he like joined that he was going to create like the ultimate team. And so Haiji's thinking about that, and he's thinking about his dad, and he's wondering if his dad is watching him right now, because he wants to like prove to him like he was right about running. And we actually see his dad in real time is at a track practice. But if we look more closely, he has an earpiece in, and he's holding like his radio in his hand, and he's like, or like his stopwatch in his hand, and his hand is like shaking as he's listening to the radio broadcast. Because like
I thought that was so touching.
It was. He's overcome with emotion, and I don't know if it's regret or happiness or a whole bunch of different things all at once.
I was going to say about probably everything.
Yeah, that was a strong moment in this episode, and we hear that like Haiji like lost his faith in running and in himself when he was injured, but he realizes like now he was wrong to lose that faith and that hope. And his newfound hope led him to rediscover running again in an even more beautiful form than he thought was like possible, with like all these friends. And like he's like truly happy, and he keeps saying how happy he is. And like as he was saying like, I'm so happy, I love running, I thought his knee was just gonna like snap in half. Like I thought that's what was the building up to, but it was just a build up to like the halfway point of the episode. And so the guys then are like worried about Haiji because he's looking like kind of labored with his running. His face is a little stiff, and they know.
Yeah, because it fucking hurts probably. Damn.
Yeah. And so Kakeru just tells them like, hey, let's just trust in him. Like he's been our leader all along, and he's promised he's going to show us like the ultimate goal we've all been running for. Mercifully, Minami from Rikido finishes first and wins the race. So we're safe. No completely ridiculous ending is happening here where they come back. And so the coach tells Haiji that he just needs to make up 6 seconds. So he's made up like a whole minute already. But over the last 3 kilometers, he needs to make up 6 seconds on Tokyo School.
So they're aiming to get in the top 10. And like, I don't know. I'm just so proud of them.
Yeah, basically. This was like a great way to have them succeed while not ridiculously like winning the race. And so Haiji also is like, in my opinion, clearly running through intense pain because he's like almost blacking out with his knee.
Oh yeah, like you see the like fogginess, like when you're about to pass out and like all you can see is what's directly in front of you, and like everything else just starts to fade. Like they did a good job of showing that too.
I agree. Yeah, it was really well done. A few other teams finish, and Kakeru runs to the finish line to like wait for Haiji. And he sees him, like, there's like a corner in the street, and he sees him like run around the corner. And as he comes down the final stretch, he's like hit by this huge gust of wind, which I thought was funny. But then he sees Kakeru waving, and he starts smiling. But then we hear that rusty gate noise one more time.
Oh, I know. And I was like, no.
And I was like, oh, we called it. We fucking called it, boys. But like you hear like something like totally like breaks inside. Like you hear this like noise.
They have like his whole knee just on the screen, and I had to cover the screen with my hand and be like, no! I couldn't watch it.
But like, I thought he was gonna like limp across the finish line, but he really doesn't. He just focuses on Kakeru's face, and he just continues to just go forward because he's just so happy to see him. I don't think he even feels his knee anymore.
No, he felt it.
Well,
he felt it.
He definitely will afterwards. Yeah. And Kakeru just thinks to himself, like, Haiji once asked him, like, what running was. And his answer as he sees, like, Haiji approaching the finish line is, it's you. And it's just, like, everything that he brought this team together to do and what he's doing right now to finish it off.
So are we still saying that there's nothing there? We're still saying that Kakeru isn't in love with Haiji?
Like, as cheesy as that line was, I couldn't help myself from, like, feeling like, damn, that's really good.
No, it was good. I'm just saying there's feeling there.
Oh,
maybe
there's
they'll get married.
Yeah. So Haiji finishes, which I wrote that with an exclamation point because I was like, Haiji finishes, holy shit! Because I wasn't sure he would. And then Kansei finishes 5th in the second half of the race.
I know, that is amazing. Like 5th.
That's pretty
They were
sick.
trying for 10th, and they got 5th.
Well, no, in just the second half. No, but they end up in 10th place. They overall the whole race they end up in 10th place by 2 seconds.
For some reason, I thought they were overall in 5th place, and I was like, damn! I was so impressed. I was like, they did good.
Well, they definitely they did really well for the second day. Like they did extremely well. And so they get the seed for the next year. And then the ED song starts to play over like a montage of images of like the whole team crying. There's like the douchebag Kosuke from Tokyo Sport is crying because they defeated him. Fujioka is like smiling. You see like Haiji's dad hear it on the radio, and the guys like run to embrace Haiji. And so then we have a time skip. 3 years pass. And the guys are having a reunion at the like Chikusei dorm, whatever, which is going to be demolished.
Should have been demolished 3 years ago.
Prince has a job, which is shocking. Let's be honest. Musa has a pretty sweet beard.
I know. I was like, look at Musa's beard.
Musa looks like he's got it together for sure. Kakeru, Joji, and Jota are all like 4th years now, and they're just finishing. And everyone, like, it's been 3 years, and apparently there's been no fucking progression between Hana and Joji or Jota.
That's bullshit.
Oh, I know. They just and they're like, you can tell us now which one. I still maintain. First of all, it was an asshole move for them to ask him to ask her which one. That was a bitch move. You don't just go and be like, it's on you. You need to ask. Like, no. If you want to know so bad, you fucking ask.
I think they did that because he was the first to notice.
Yeah, so. I felt that too. I feel like he was the one who was always keyed into this thing from the first place. So if anyone was going to ask, it should be him, I guess.
Yeah.
But and regardless of that, I still maintain she said both. That's
she 100%. Yeah, like because like he goes up to her and like he flashes back to like when she told him, like when he whispered to her, and then she acted surprised early in the episode, and then she when he says which one, she acts like really taken aback. And then she like smiles and then whispers to him, and I'm like, she fucking loves them both, 100%.
Yep, she wants a creepy like 3-sided relationship.
And Musa just says like, well, the answer is between me and Hana, guys. And then they just basically gang tackle him and start beating the shit out of him because they can't have this.
Why don't they just go up and be like, which one of us do you want to date? Like, if you want to act like a mature adult, you go and you deal with these things yourself.
Well, we see
you don't do the middle school thing where you like hand them a note and you're like, "Do you like me?" Scratch X for yes. Like,
well, Joji and Jota told themselves that they're going to wait until they graduate before they enact on anything.
Yeah, they say we promise there'd be no shenanigans
with
Hana
stupid.
Until
That's
after.
Dumb. This is why people in Japan aren't having kids. You fuck in college. That's what you do. You fuck.
Well, apparently not, because it would have to be a threesome.
We can't risk a thing like a kiss in college. What would happen? The world would end.
And so, also like 3 years later, like the Kansei team is like way more established now. Like we see the practice with like Kakeru, Joji, and Jota leading them, and there's like 16 other team members now. So they're like a established school, which is cool. And there's some cheesy stuff about how the wind is blowing, but they're still running, and they'll run to the ends of the earth. And then, like, as Kakeru's, like, leading the group of, like, runners, like, he imagines, like, all of his senpais, like, running in front of him. And that's the end. It was
a
nice.
Good show.
It was pretty nice.
It was really good. Like, let's admit.
Yeah, Leo, let's admit that this is a really good show.
Yeah, Leo. Fucking asshole.
So our next show, Kemurikusa, episode 12. Final episode. I love this show.
Okay.
We see what actually happened while Rin was like viewing the memory leaf. The red tree can apparently move itself and has like come towards him. It sends like a root in to like attack Rin, but Wakabi uses his other Kemurikusa to like distract it. It eventually impales him, and this is when Rin, finds him at the end of that episode.
Right.
Ren immediately springs into action and gets to Wakaba, who used a Midori leaf at the last minute to basically save himself. Using teamwork, the two make it to the trunk, and Wakaba gives Ren 3 Midori leaves at max output to hit it with. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it does nothing, and the red trunk starts firing laser beams at them, and Ren gets caught by a root. Blah, blah. And then Wakaba uses some control panel or something on the ground, or one of the Kemurikusa leaves. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it causes the root to let go of Ren. It's he took over control of the tree for a second.
Yeah. He was able to interface with it really quick. Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah. He then rushes to the trunk, and he's trying to activate its control panel, but we see a character, but we don't know. They didn't translate it, so I don't know what that character was. So that kind of sucks. And it turned out to be...
In previous episodes, it was something that Riri said only the adults could use, basically. But yeah, I don't know what that character means. I wish I'd looked that up. Oh well.
Yeah, it doesn't come back up, so it's whatever. He then shoves Rin out of the way as this root comes flying down and ends up pinning Wakaba to the ground. And it looks like it fucked him up pretty bad. Just before Wakaba... passes out, he puts up a wall separating him and the tree from Rin. Mm-hmm. And then behind the wall, Rin then has the last memory of Riri completing her work. She has 6 leaves for the body and 1 for the memory. She will then be divided into 6 adults and be able to save Wakaba. She can actually check on Wakaba, and she sees the outline of his body and what looks like a small tree growing out of it. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh shit, he's already dead. And this is when she crosses out her mission to save Wakaba and writes in, do what you love instead.
So I was kind of right and kind of wrong when I was oh, it was the Rinas who crossed out the mission. It's no, it was technically the first person Riri, but...
Okay, so
yeah.
He died trying already trying to fix that, and then got reborn later?
Yeah,
is that what happened?
I believe so.
I was like, what the fuck?
It's confusing, yeah.
Yeah. So, Rin, she decides to use her main body, which we never figure out what the fuck that's about, but she can't because she's run out of water.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then, yeah. So I don't know. So Ritsu and Rina have also sent out this little messenger thing. And
it's cute. It's got the ears, and I knew Kat was throwing up. And then so I was laughing on my ass off when I saw this. And I was I want to buy one right now.
And basically they just send a message that's giving her a lot of encouraging words, and also they give her a branch from the Midori tree.
Oh yeah.
And then we also get to see that Ritsu and Rina are getting ready to battle a bunch of approaching red bugs, and even the little white one transforms into a big old battle bot with a laser on it.
Motherfuckers!
Basically. I think we've killed Kat. She's not saying anything.
It's great.
This fucking show is dumb. That's what I say.
Ren does her best trying to get to Wakaba. At one point, she loses an arm and then ends up losing a leg. And she's down and not able to move. And then this giant red root comes crashing down on her. And it looks like she's done for. But then Riku, Ryu, and Ryoku show up to save her. It's almost a tongue twister. Show up to save her. And they congratulate her on finally figuring out that she loves Wakaba.
Oh, I want to mention one thing. So just before they had shown up, the sister's message that they sent with the little earbot, whatever we're going to call it. I just like that they tell her if you still haven't figured out what the thing is you love, just if you're still lost, just look at which way your feet are pointing. And I just really like that as a line, because it's
what?
Yeah, her feet are pointing towards Wakaba, obviously.
That could just be a random thing. What if someone says that to you? Oh, you look down and you're your feet are just pointed towards the fridge or something. I don't know.
There, you know what you really love then, I guess. Also, and then the other thing I want to say, when the 3 sisters show up and kick into action, the soundtrack is so good. Holy shit. I think the soundtrack for this whole episode was really good, but this track that plays when the sisters get into action is so good.
Yep. The 3 sisters then start attacking the red trunk. Riku uses her yellow powers to make platforms that help her outmaneuver the tree. Ryoko can then make these panels that refract the tree lasers, so it can't hit her, and then uses it to power up her beam like magnifying glass and blow off the red tree's laser arm.
Pretty badass shit going on.
Yeah.
I like this.
Rio then uses her brute strength to like defeat the one root that had like runes on it. It seemed extra powerful than the other ones. So Ren finally has her opening, and she charges in and like stabs the red tree with the Midori branch, and it finally like comes crashing down. Ren gets to Wakaba and heals him, and like the three sisters tell Ren they're so glad she found what she loves, and then they like fade away, and then like another message earbot shows up and tells them Ritsu and Rina are fine and they'll meet up later. But then there's also like a crack in the wall, and Ren and Wakaba like go through it, and on the other side they basically find paradise. It's so much like the ending to Land Before Time.
That's true. Oh, I didn't think about that. What I did think was like, welcome to Yokoso Jabari Park. I thought for a second that this was like 100% going to be a crossover. And then they were going to like see
really
like a little bus.
At this late phase, they were going to have a crossover.
It'd be so ridiculous if it was, but no, it's just like the outside of the ship. Yeah.
Yeah, and Ren said something interesting. Yeah, she said they're on the outside of the ship. I'm like, so they were in another ship the whole time?
They were in like a giant ship the whole time. Like, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. But the show ends with like Ren having this big smile on her face, and she's telling Wakaba she loves him.
That I saw that smile, and I was like, I need to protect that.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's so precious.
That's a pretty good smile. Oh, it was a very sweet moment.
I did not get I forgot to check out the 12.1 episode. Did you see it?
Yeah, so I watched it really quick. It's not much, but it is basically like a teaser, as if they might do a second season.
No!
Which we would obviously have to cover by consensus unanimous decision.
100%.
No, it's basically like the three sisters who showed up at the end here. They're like in like this sort of other like Kemurikusa dimension. And they're like, what are we doing here? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. It's pretty short. And then like Wakaba shows up and he's like, who are you guys? So it's like an alternate reality or something where like he goes on an adventure with them instead of the other sisters that he's been on this adventure with, kind of.
Ooh.
Cat's like, never again. Apparently that like it was on Twitter that the director Toski posted it, and it had like 1.2 million views or something on Twitter.
Oh, that's pretty impressive.
People like this show, Cat.
Who would have guessed?
Sucks.
Who would have thought?
Sucks is all fuck.
Also, it was really great that there was like a little piece of that rope vine that used to be around Wakaba that like saved his life. Like the Midori like saved his life.
Yeah, he was keeping it like as like kind of like a good luck charm. And it did help.
I like that.
Oh man.
I also just like, as cheesy as it is, as much as it's like just Dragon Ball or something, when Rain is just like jumping towards the red root to deliver the final blow, and she's just like screaming. And even as jank as the animation is, I was like, this is fucking hype. I'm really happy.
Dude, I was watching, I was like, could you imagine if like the animation was awesome, like Bones or like Mappa was doing this final fight would have been so fucking good.
I kept imagining if like all of the girls had like Fate Stay Night level character designs. and like, God, yeah, this show could be so fucking cool if it was just like completely overhauled. I don't know, but even as it is, I think it's pretty cool. So,
yep. We like it.
Yeah.
Cat doesn't.
Sorry.
We don't care.
True.
Let's move on to the promised smug face.
The promised smug face?
Look at their faces. Oh my god.
They have the smuggest faces, and then when they're at the end, when they're like rebelling against Isabella, I was like, Jesus Christ. Have you watched this intro, Cat? It's the smuggest faces I've ever seen in my life.
Well, it's because they put their faces like 3 feet higher than they should be on, like their mouths like 3 feet higher than they should be.
Yeah.
It's just so weird. That's still one of my biggest problems with this show is like the character designs are just like hilarious to me. I don't know.
They're very, very unique.
I think they're good at being really expressive, but I think it's almost too expressive. Like, God, I don't know.
So episode 12, the end of this season, season 2 comes out in 2020. Can't wait for that. Yeah. Everybody's escaping up the wall except for the 4-year-olds and under. In a flashback, Emma is having a conversation with Connie and Don. I mean, Gilda and Don. Why did I put Connie? Gilda and Don about the escape. They are wondering if they can trust the 4-year-olds with the truth, and also about the kids and the other plants, like what are they going to do with them. In the end, they use Phil as like kind of an experiment, and it turns out he was actually noticing the weird behaviors of like Emma, Ray, and Norman the whole time.
Because he's a galaxy brain.
Yeah, he's pretty smart, I guess. So what they do is Phil stays behind with all the other 4-year-olds and being the only one with the knowledge about like the plants and stuff like that, Emma vows she will come back for them and also all the kids and the other plants. And like they think they have like 2 years to do that.
Yeah.
So Isabella quickly contacts HQ and they sound the alarm. 15 kids escaping. They can kill all. The demons get the order that they can kill all of them except the 2 of them who are the high quality, and also don't damage the heads. And that was just funny to me.
I want their brains.
Like, don't hit them on the head. You have to be careful.
They're delicious, delicious brains.
Yes.
So like Norman being all defeated was just like a ruse, and we didn't know it because he had actually found a part in the gap between the wall and the cliff that was shorter than the rest, that they could basically zip line across. And then there's like this just Ray having a conversation with like an apparition of Norman.
Yeah, and I was just like, but if you knew, like, why didn't you do this then? Like,
yeah,
they
have
were like
Norman die.
They were tricking Ray for some reason. I don't know. Well, we don't know if Norman's dead.
100% not dead right now.
Well, I think maybe he'll show up next season or something, and it'll be like a big reveal. Who knows?
Dun,
yeah. So there's only like 5 of them left to cross, and like a young girl named Jemima.
Whoa, that you like really jumped to the end there. Okay.
What? I didn't skip anything.
No, but I was surprised because that took a lot of time. But you're just better at being concise, I guess, Leo.
So yeah, her name's Jemima, which is, I feel like, it's a very black name because she's a black little girl.
It's almost like they thought like Jemima, and then they're like, we can't call her
like,
Jemima.
Come on,
what
guys.
do we call her? Jemima. And I was like, that's no.
I mean, it's spelled the same.
Listen, Japan. Like, not all. You can't do that.
Fucking Japan. Also, her eyes are so weird. She's one of the kids who has like these gigantic, like alien-like eyes. And
well, it's supposed to make him look cute. It's supposed to be like,
it?
look how adorable this kid is.
It makes him look
eyes
horrifying
like,
to me. And like, it's so, I don't even know, because like at this point, like if I wasn't reading more into the character designs, I would think that like she was born from like an alien having sex with one of like the women or something. Because like literally her eyes look that weird to me. But anyway.
So anyway, she's getting cold feet. So Ray like steps up though and ties her to himself, and they cross. Isabella's becoming worried because the guards have not found them. They're expecting them at the bridge. So she runs to the wall, and on the way, she has like a 2-second flashback of her like young self swinging up onto the wall. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty cool. So she gets up on the wall.
It's almost like she herself has gone through this. Like she realized,
yeah,
just like they did. She tried to escape just like they did, but then she accepted that like there was nothing she could do.
Right. She like accepts her fate. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. So she's up on the wall and she's running along the wall, eventually coming upon Emma, who's the last to go. And then there's just like some dramatic standoff, and like Isabella asks Emma not to go, and she kind of like looks back at the burning house and is like, goodbye home, and then she just goes off, and then all the kids just like look up at her and give her all the smuggest looks they can do. And then they cut the zip lines and just disappear into the trees. I was like, god damn show.
But she didn't really deserve that, because like you find out later, like I think she's just doing the best she can. Like you start to really feel for Isabella.
You do. Well, especially the end. The whole end of this episode is like my favorite part for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so I really liked this shot of like Isabella standing up there on the wall, looking kind of defeated, and her collar's kind of open, and you can see her numbers on her neck. I thought that was a really cool touch.
Yeah.
And then she just kind of lets her hair down as like a sign of defeat. And then we have a flashback. Young Isabella, who's acting a whole lot like Emma, drops down from a tree right next to her friend Leslie, who is playing a mandolin. Mm-hmm. And she listens to him play. And at one point, she cries a lot when he gets shipped out because she knows the truth. And like her turn eventually comes up. And when she goes through, there's like grandma there with like a demon, and that's when she offers her the potential position of a mother. She goes through all that training and eventually becomes pregnant She gets assigned to Plant 3, and one day she comes across Ray humming the song that her friend played. And she's like, "What the fuck?"
And it's also the song that she hummed to her baby and like while she was pregnant. And it's also the song that Ray was humming in that episode when he was about to like burn himself.
So you find out that like that's her kid.
Yes.
Yep.
Ray's her fucking kid.
Yep.
Oh my god. And like my whole body broke out in goosebumps. And I was like, fuck. And then like it asked her like in her head, she's like, why did you give birth to me? And it's like, because I had for survival or something. And you're just like, oh.
And it makes sense, like the like special relationship that she's had with him all along makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
And do you think he knows as well as her?
Yeah, because he says like, why'd you give birth to me?
Well, but I thought that was like a rhetorical question, like that she asked herself. I didn't think he actually knew.
Yeah, I think
like
that can go both
did.
ways. I don't know.
Oh, that's a good point. I guess he could be saying it in that sense too.
Like she's asking herself almost, like thinking what he would ask her.
Oh man, that's a great question. I wonder if he actually knows. I think he knows because I don't think he would tell anybody else, even if he knew.
Well, we know he's good at keeping secrets.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I'm not sure. That's a good point. It could go either way.
It's interesting to think either way because, like, on the one hand, I think she does want him to escape. Like,
right, she does.
I have a little theory about that. So we'll come back to it at the very end.
I like theories,
but yes. We come back to the present, and Isabella is like kind of happy that they managed to escape, and then she literally wishes them the best. And she goes back to the other kids and tells Phil not to worry because they all escaped safely.
So she knows that he knows. Like,
yeah,
she straight up know. Like, they thought they were being all sneaky, but like she knows.
And Phil's like jaw dropped because he's like,
he's
holy
like,
shit.
What? So the kids continue running through the forest and eventually come out of it to see like their first sunrise being free. And
Wait,
really,
did we talk about that whole thing with Phil and what their plan is? Kind of.
Oh, we didn't really.
She decided that they can't take the 4-year-olds and under because they would be too much and it would slow them down, and they can't explain it to them. But they decide that Phil kind of knows like enough, like he's smart enough, even though he's only 4.
He's going to be their inside informant when they come back
so they
within
tell
2 years.
him everything, and it like takes him a while, and he cries, and they're like, "You're at the low end. You have 2 years before anyone is harvested."
Yeah, he cries about Norman specifically because he's like, "Oh shit, Norman's dead." Then
yeah. So they're basically like, "You have 2 years to plan, like to plan your own escape, and we're gonna try to come back for you." So like he knows, and like his job is going to be to slowly tell the other kids as they get older.
Prepare the other kids to be ready.
Yeah.
So I think the way Isabella acted at the end made me think she actually just knew everything the whole time. It's like the missing supplies and what the kids were really up to when they're like playing with the zip lines and stuff. I
think she did.
I believe a part of her just kind of turned a blind eye to all their antics.
I think she wanted Ray to escape.
Yeah.
And she also wanted Emma to escape because Emma reminds her of her.
And here, part of my evidence is she somehow knew to tell Phil and only Phil that they escaped. It's like she knew that. So like, I just think it was her kind of turning a blind eye, and like that actually improves the anime a lot because a lot of her things was like, how is Isabella not seeing this shit happening?
Yeah, I agree.
It kind of makes sense in that way.
Closed that like little plot hole a bit.
Well, I think it's great because throughout this anime you've seen Isabella as this character where like she's sending all these kids to their death, and like she's plotting, but like if you really think about it, she went through this thing just like Emma did where she's like, I can't escape, like, and she just accepted it. She's like, there's no way, there's nothing I can do, like I just have to give up. And that was her decision. And think about like if you were in this huge society where like everyone is just fated, this is what happens, like what are you gonna do? And a lot of people are gonna give up like that. And I don't know if you can hate her. Like she goes to the school, she has her kid, like does what she has to do, and then she comes out, and unlike all of the other plants, which they say the conditions are terrible at the other plants, she does try to make a good life for these kids, like as best she can within the confines of what
that's true.
she was given.
Yeah.
But she literally says to Ray earlier, I did it to survive. She's just doing what she can to survive.
Yeah, so it's almost like she's doing what she can to be a good person within the confines of the society that is really cruel.
Right.
And at least give the kids, like you said, a good life before she has to ship them.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if you can hate her for that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a very fair point. Like, yeah. What do you know what I hate though? I hate that Phil wasn't an evil narc like we predicted.
You guys are like, Phil's totally a traitor, and I'm like, Phil is 4.
Yeah, I guess we had it confirmed that he was definitely 4 because he was with the under 4 or under 5-year-old kids. So.
Yep.
But he's a galaxy brain, so he's
that
day.
evil 4-year-old. He's coming for them all.
Can you imagine when they return to get them, if they do, and Phil's just going to be like 6 years old by then? Holy shit, he's going to be a mastermind. I can't even imagine.
He's like as tall as all of them, and he's like buff, and he's like, I'm 6 years old.
He's just been working out for 2 years. It's like fucking jacked.
Oh, shit. We need to take a break. There's something wrong with you guys.
Okay. We'll be right back.
Yep. We'll see you in a minute.
The following is an extract from Reanimator Pod episode 47, Blood, Blood, Blood. Taka discusses Des Irae.
Most of the characters in the show, particularly the villains, have more than one name, like many more than one. For example, the super powerful mage from my synopsis is Karl Kraft, also known as Mercurius, also known as Faust, also known as Saint Germain, also known as Paracelsus, also known as Cagliostro, also known as Copophilia Smudge. Woo! Okay, that last one is a Reanimator special, but the rest are all legit. Like, he actually has those names. How about a few more?
He's got more names?
No, they're other characters. He actually had that many names, though. Wilhelm Ehrenberg is Kazikli Bey, because why not? Valeria Trifa is Christoph Lohengrin, who's a priest and is commonly referred to as Father. Lord Heydrich is also Reinhard, and Teresia is Rhea, but Fuji Ren, aka Zarathustra, is our main character, and also refers to Rhea as Senpai. So we never really learn her name until other characters start calling her Rhea. But really her name's Teresia, so I don't really know how that adds up. Ugh.
And if you like that and you want to hear more from the Reanimator Pod, head on over to reanimatorpod.com. That's reanimatorpod.com. New episodes are out every Monday.
Don't drop that. Hey, don't drop that.
Hey, do you like wrestling?
Whether it be in a bar, an arena, some weird place in Asia, or in a stadium?
Or the occasional penisplex?
Well, if any of these things might tickle your fancy, anywhere in between, from penises to wrestling, you can come and check out our podcast.
Our podcast name is Smack It Down. We talk all things WWE, New Japan, anything else in between.
I'm Jay Silver.
I'm Corey Gold.
And we look forward to you joining us.
Happy Rusev Day.
Happy Rusev Day indeed.
Welcome back, boys and girls.
While we were away, Kat ran into a door.
I did run into a door. oh, that happens sometimes. So, so this week we don't have JoJo's because
we were a week ahead.
JoJo was lame and it had like a recap episode and we skipped it because no one needs a recap episode and blah blah blah. So we're ahead anyway. So this way,
didn't want to get like too far ahead, and then we have like the whole end section of this episode, so we want to just like expedite things and
we want you guys to get on with your day. We know you're busy, right? Sitting at your desk, chewing some popcorn,
driving in your car.
I'm talking about you.
Pay attention to the road,
chewing, didn't
damn
you?
it.
That's
you know
right.
Who needs to
use
be
your
hit?
Turn signal. I saw you not use it.
Do you know who needs to be hit with a door? Natsuo Fuji.
He does need to be hit with the door. So here's the last episode of Domestic Girlfriend.
Thank God.
This piece of shit that we enjoyed immensely.
You two enjoyed.
I'm sorry.
You know this is technically my third time going over this damn show. I've read it. I've watched it. Now I gotta hear you fucking talk about it again.
Oh, let's cry a tear for Leo.
A singular
Poor
tear.
baby.
Everybody cry a tear for Leo.
Just get it over with.
Oh, you see it dripping down your cheek. Okay. All right. So this is called I'm Sorry, I Love You, which is also stupid. So
It's the name of your sex tape.
That would be a terrible sex scene. Oh my god. Anyway, the president has a pic of Natsuo Fuji, just like we have left off with the last episode, and Hina kissing, but it's not 100% clear it's him. And I guess, okay, like at this point, just bullshit your way through it. Just be like, no, that's not Natsuo. That's some dude I met on Tinder and we fucked in my room. Why are you in my private life? Go away. You're creepy. I'm going to sue you.
The thing is, Hina's like a fucking child, so she can't do it. Like,
I know. Like, it would have been so easy to solve this, since it's not a clear picture, you can't really tell who it is. Mm-hmm. It would have been so fucking easy for her to just be like, I don't know what you're talking about. That's disgusting.
It's like I don't
that's just someone I met on Tinder, and this is the modern age. I can fuck who I want. Like, how dare you take pictures of me through my window? I'm gonna sue you in the school. Like, she could have so easily have turned this around.
They noticed it in the background that the photographer was taking pictures for the school of like all the kids and stuff, and it's just a picture they noticed, and they just noticed that in the background. So
I'm just saying, like, really, this would have been so easy.
But she could have just played it off as like some Tinder dude.
Mm-hmm.
If she had just an ounce of like thought, she could have. I mean, come on, she didn't really have anything on her. Like, come on, but she doesn't, and instead she like does the stupid thing where she kneels on the ground and begs them not to tell anyone. And I'm like, you're stupid. You're a stupid bitch. And then, so I guess they make this deal where she's going to transfer schools, which that's actually like a common thing, especially in the U.S. Like, a lot of times if a guy teacher like fucks a student or gets a student pregnant, like they just transfer him to another school because they don't want the scandal. And
yeah,
like that's
better to keep it quiet than to let everybody know that the school has things go on like this.
Well, I think it's more to protect the student than anything.
I mean, it doesn't really protect the student because most of the time everyone knows, like, the student is pregnant. Like, so they were doing. Most of the time, the students know before the parents or the teachers know. To be fair, like I'm listening to this podcast right now called Teacher's Pet, and it's kind of old, and it's all about like the school where a lot of this shit was happening. Where like a lot of the teachers were like fucking students and stuff.
Holy shit.
And it just reminded me of this episode did.
Oh my god.
Because they would just, anytime it got way crazy, they'd just like transfer the teachers, you know? Like, oh. But anyway, so yeah, she says she's transferring schools. But apparently Natsuo didn't know before she made that announcement. So he's like, what? What's happening? And Kiria like confronts Hina on the roof and is like, did the president find out? And I guess he even figured it out. Like, it's not that secret.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much everyone figured it out.
Well, especially from his stupid like book that he wrote about how he fell in love with his teacher.
I did like the quote that he makes, like Kiria, he's like, there's a part of falling in love that can't be helped regardless of age or marital status. And he's like referring to her other affair that she had before this.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, like, damn, she really has been like, maybe she likes scandal or something. Because think about it, like, she went from I'm dating a married man to I'm dating a student of mine. Like,
yeah,
she's got kinks, man.
Maybe. I don't know. She cries on the roof like a fucking pussy, and I'm like, stop being a baby. She leaves a note explaining everything, which I'm like, come on, that's a shit move. And honestly, they're like, I did it to protect you because it would have come out and damaged your reputation. Honestly, no, it wouldn't have. Like,
no.
As a boy, if you're like, I fucked a teacher, does that damage your reputation?
You get high fives for the rest of that year at least.
It doesn't.
Yep.
Yeah. Like,
you fucked the hot teacher? Dude.
Yeah, let's be honest. This was about Hina's reputation.
Yeah.
She didn't want her reputation to be fucked up because if it came out, it would damage. She would not be able to work as a teacher anymore.
For sure.
And that's a valid thing. But she doesn't have the bullshit and be like, I did it to protect you. No, you didn't, bitch. You didn't. Like, let's call a spade a spade. And also, like, she just left and like didn't tell anyone where she was going.
Yeah, that was
Like,
the really overdramatic part for me.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
like, that also didn't need to happen. Like, if they really wanted to date and she transferred schools to avoid the scandal, all they would have to do is be long distance for a few years, right? Like, they write notes, they see each other occasionally. She doesn't come back over here. Like, and then when he graduates, they could still be together. Like, this really doesn't have to be this thing that they made it at all.
Yeah.
Like, it just shows me that this was not a strong relationship from the beginning.
No, she's always been acting like a child. Like she's like, yeah, she's just
Yeah, well, because one of them has to act like an adult for it to be a good relationship and to be strong. At least one of them.
And he's obviously a child too. Not to put
And
it all on her.
he's a child. Like, he's 17. So, like, at least she has to act like an adult, and she doesn't. And, like, then their relationship crumbled apart because they can't keep shit together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And then he goes to the roof after he gets the note, and he screams at the sky.
The scream!
Like,
oh my god! It was
and I'm like,
the best.
Oh my fucking god! What is this cliche? What is
I laughed so hard when I heard that scream. It is the most like overwrought scream I've heard in anime in like a long time.
I was like, really, really. And so then he just mopes around the apartment for like weeks, just being a little baby. And then the manager goes to check on him. And like, I thought about it in my head, like, how would a breakup scene like this go if it was the US and a guy like is going through all this heartache? What would happen? I'm pretty sure he'd just be blackout drunk and someone would come drag him off the bar floor. That's what would happen if it was in the US.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't know.
he's not
Is it
of
better
age
that
to
Japanese
drink.
people just huddle in their room and like hide from society, or is it worse? It might be better. It might be a better coping mechanism.
I don't know.
Oh man. So he goes to the house and like it's like, put yourself together, like blah blah, stop being a baby, and starts yelling at him. And then, like, tries to shame him by saying, like, she did this for you. And I'm like, no, she didn't. Like, stop acting like it was some sacrifice that she did for him. Because it's not. But yeah, and at this point, like, there's so many people who know. Like, even the parents, you find out in a minute, know. Like, this did nothing. This, like, don't tell anyone and I'll transfer. Like, first of all, they were gonna make her leave regardless. Like, the only way they weren't gonna make her leave is if she pretends that, like, it was a misunderstanding and, like, that was another dude, right? Any other answer, they're gonna make her leave. So, like, and, like, being like, please just don't tell anyone. They don't have to tell anyone. Everyone knows!
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know. So he cries some more. This whole episode is just the Natsuo crying tour. And he just says like Hina, like a whim. I don't know. I got really irritated.
How many times do you think he masturbated with his tears to Hina?
Oh god, like just as lube. He's just crying onto his dick and like that's his lube. Oh man, that's just a sad sight. So Fuji goes to see Kiria and asks if he can like write. So he goes to see him and is like, can I write a book to move on? And it's like, you don't need his permission for you to write a book. Just write the damn book. And yeah, the parents have this conversation where they're like, oh yeah, she moved and we found out where she transferred to because we just hired someone to look it up because it's not that hard to figure out. Yeah, like, should we not? And they are so obsessed with their own goddamn marriage throughout this entire anime. Just constantly like, shouldn't we have gotten remarried? Maybe we should have. Maybe we shouldn't have. Like, oh, maybe the reason that they started dating was because of no! Stop being self-centered. It had nothing to do with you.
Yeah, they are
I
pretty
don't know.
like
I was so
self-centered
tired
about
of
that.
hearing them whine about how maybe it had to do with their remarriage or whatever. I was like, I mean, it was an interesting scene though, in general.
Yeah, I guess.
And also, it just made me laugh because, like, obviously, it's so easy to find her if you really look, and like Natsuo has not done that at all. And then the cute guy from the restaurant, I don't remember his name. The Yakuza guy.
Oh, Marie is what he likes to be called.
Yeah, it's like Mario, except a little nicer. Okay. Takes Natsuo to a hot spring to help him. And when I see his tattoo and they're getting undressed, it's like really weird to me, because would they even let him into the public bath?
Yeah, I thought about that too,
so.
because tattoos are such a big deal, but I think there are certain baths that allow them, but in general they're very much looked down upon, because I think you're Yakuza, and in his case he or she was ex-Yakuza, so yeah.
Yeah, but he explains how like his family was really upset with him when he cut ties with the Yakuza, and like although he was sad that he was alone, he was also free. And then when his dad died, like you get a little bit of backstory. When his dad finally died, he considered taking the tattoo off, but I guess he decided against it because he was thinking about how upset his dad must have felt when he was dying. Like that his son, he just couldn't see his son and everything. He just couldn't even bring himself to go to the funeral. So it's almost like he has that tattoo still as like a remembrance of his past.
Mm-hmm.
Because he explains, like, you know, you can't ever go back. Like, a lot of things in life will happen, but you can't, like, undo things.
Yeah.
You can just shoulder what happened as part of you and just keep going.
Good advice.
It was a good talk. He did a good job. And Natsuo starts to feel better. He works on this novel. He, like, basically just doesn't come out of his room for, like, ever and ever. And finally finishes it. And, like, by the way, the other sister, like, she just keeps bringing him food and shit. And I'm like, just stop it. He, like, rejected you. He did shit stuff to you. He's a child. Stop bringing him food and being his little errand girl.
I agree. It's so ridiculous, but, like, it pales in comparison to what happens later in this episode.
Oh, I know. But yeah, so he finally finishes the novel, and he's just so fucking spoiled. And he deigns to go downstairs once he's finished the novel.
And everybody's like, holy shit, he's out of his room.
He's out of his room. Like, and I'm just thinking what would have happened growing up if, like, I was depressed like that and not coming out of my room. And I would have eventually had to, because I'm not a little spoiled bitch, and, like, someone wouldn't have brought me food. So I'd have to go or die. You'd be like, well, am I going to starve in the room, or am I going to go and get myself something to eat? Like, I don't know. He's just spoiled. It irritates me.
Yeah.
And, like, his friends in the Lit Club apparently know, too. Because, like, he goes out with them and they all talk about it. And I'm like, everyone on the planet knows now. Just everyone on the face of the planet. It's pretty sad. And they go to Kiria's house, like, with the draft of the book. And Kiria's like, it's good. And you've changed a lot. Good job. And then one day, Kiria comes to his house, like, many months later with this literary agent called Soichio or whatever, and he says he's come to kidnap him and take him to a literary awards ceremony. And I guess Kiria submitted his novel for an award and it won first place, and now he has to do like a speech. And first of all, isn't it illegal to submit someone's work without their knowledge?
Only if they press charges.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Second of all, I noticed that the title of his book was Well, See You. That's a terrible title.
It's pretty bad.
Kat's like, the title's so bad, I'm not even going to read the content. It's just an F.
Yeah. You just put that book back on the fucking shelf.
Exactly. And he gets home. He sees who he thinks is Hina and runs and holds her, and he's like, I really wanted to see you and I missed you, blah, blah. But it's really Rui in a wig.
It's Rui in a wig.
I know! She's like surpassed being stalkery and is now like, I'll be what you want. Oh.
Yeah, she's entering like
she's so
psycho
weird.
territory where it's like wearing the mother's wig, and it's ridiculous. Holy shit!
She said she wanted to grow out her hair, and Momo gave her the wig to
That's
kind of
not
get a
why.
feel for it. That's what she
know.
says.
She looks
You
exactly
know
like
why.
Hina. It's ridiculous. Oh my god.
That's just some bullshit. Anyway, she runs to her room all upset, and he comes after her and is like, oh, I won this prize. And I love how in this moment where she's upset and it should be about comforting her, all he can do is tell her about the prize he won.
He's such an asshole.
For the book that he wrote about being in love with her sister. Way to dig in the knife, you asshole. And of course, like, I don't know. I just think she's addicted to being nagged by Natsuo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she just loves just him insulting her constantly. It just turns her on. Because she, like, hits on him and is like, I'm not going to wait for Hina this time. And, like, crawls on top of him. And once again, he does nothing about this.
Nope. He's totally like, all right, this is
just
happening.
Passive.
Let's go.
Like, I was so pissed off. And that's the end.
Well, and then Hina cut her hair.
Oh, yeah.
Because...
Yeah, you find out at the very, very end,
Yeah.
after the credits, like, Hina cut her hair, and she read the book, and I guess she's moving on. I don't know.
It's so dumb. I'm kind of like, I know you were kind of annoyed at Hina for being stupid, but I was also annoyed at how shafted Hina got by this entire situation, and, like, basically Natsuo being a fucking idiot about the whole thing. Not that she wasn't too, but, like, I was really annoyed.
They were both immature, like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, to be fair, she didn't have to get shafted by it if she'd been a little bit smarter, but I mean, just the judgment.
No, she wants the shaft. She really wants that shaft.
But just the judgment call of, like, I mean, it would have been so easy for them to just be like, we're dating, we're not going to have sex until you're of age, like, and you're not my student anymore. Like, they could have done so many things differently. Just their immaturity caused their relationship to fall apart. Like, that's all. And I can only predict that Rui and Natsuo will just be the worst, most heinous couple of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be like,
and then Hina will come back.
it's basically gonna be just like, what's that anime with the girl who bakes her, like, love juice into the cookies?
Shimoneta. Yeah.
It's gonna be like that. That's basically what the sequel to this is gonna be. Natsuo living with her and her just being obsessed with him and him just taking it passively. That's not a relationship.
I think in the manga, I think I read a little bit past this and then I just fucking dropped it.
Oh god.
I didn't make it much further. But the only thing I have to say is that I hope this was the trash you two were looking for. And I hope you're happy.
It got, like,
can you imagine what's going to happen with the parents when they realize that now Rui is sleeping with him?
Well,
their mind break.
first, they're going to question if they should have gotten married or not.
Again, they're going to have the conversation for, like, the 50th time. Oh my god.
I hope at the end of the series the parents just, like, renew their vows.
I know.
Like, they're like, we've been questioning things a lot, and we think we need to go to, like, Japanese Las Vegas and renew our vows.
And that same night, Natsuo fucks both his sisters.
Oh god. They have, like, a
Natsuo, we have a
three-way.
new baby sister.
Oh god.
Oh no!
Natsuo's
no!
like, I think she's a little young for me, but man, there's something. I feel like I'm imprinting onto her. It's like Twilight.
Too much. Too much. Too much. Too much.
All right, let's move on.
Move on to some more dumb drama.
Or one of them gets pregnant and it's like,
Oh no,
my sister daughter.
Sweet Home Alabama. Anyway,
Oh god.
Kaguya-sama, Love is War, also something we're following.
Yes. Okay. So here we go with the last episode of Kaguya. It starts out, Kaguya is very excited about later tonight. There's like this Secret Service looking woman who comes in and is like, your behavior lately has been unacceptable. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
She's like the butler, and I don't know. I don't even know.
Like,
what
what has Kaguya done to
She
be
can't have
unacceptable?
friends.
She's not evil enough.
I guess.
She can't be happy.
Apparently. So yeah, she's not allowed to go to this dumb firework thing. Kaguya's like, I don't think my dad would care if something did happen to me. And I mean, I get why she feels that way.
Well, yeah. He's an
But
asshole.
also, what is with the flash to like the hair waving when she's thinking?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like that weird effect where it's like black hair like flowing back and forth, like it's her hair. I don't know. It's like a weird sort of almost unsettling thing that you would expect in like a Junji Ito collection or something.
Yeah,
But it shows up
odd.
here. Yeah. And I think it's just supposed to be her hair and like representing like her like uneasy
Her thoughts?
feelings, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so she's really depressed, and Kaguya just sends out a tweet that's like, "Right now, I really want to see the fireworks with everyone."
And I love how Shirogane sees it, and he's like, "Roger!" And then you see like the light on his bike as he gets like ready, and he like stomps his foot down on the pedal. Like,
Oh, it's so dumb.
first of all, I will say like the first half of this episode, I think is like immaculate. Like, I think it is like one of the best directed like things I've seen this entire season. And it was the Rakugo director who's the director of the whole show, but he also specifically directed this episode and the first half, I think.
Okay.
And I just think it looks so fucking good for this first half, yeah. But anyway.
He is good with angles and stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really inventive.
But yeah, so the maid's like, "Listen, the time you guys have spent apart this summer, like, it's gonna make you guys fonder for each other, and like, you should go see him," and like helps her escape by swinging out of a rope out of the window.
Out of like a firework in the background too.
Yeah. And like she puts on a wig, I guess, that looks like Kaguya's hair and just like stands so it looks like her from behind.
Oh yeah, the maid. Yeah.
Yeah, and just kind of distracts them that way. You know, stand in for her. And then Kaguya tries to get to the fireworks show, but she gets stuck in traffic and like tries to get out of the car and get there on foot, and she sees like the fireworks from between the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
But just as she gets there is when the fireworks end. And so she starts to cry.
Sad.
It's so sad. Yeah, that's right.
I'm so emotionally disattached from this show. It feels so stupid.
Yeah, I mean,
this first half of this episode, I will say, really got me. Like I had been like unattached from these characters for a long time, but I think this little arc with like understanding that Kaguya's like family life is like such shit, and like just wanting like one good thing to happen, and you know, of course, like the way the show is supposed to work is supposed to make you feel frustrated that they don't fucking get together, and they have like all these missed connections and missed opportunities.
I hate these characters.
I understand that. I totally understand it, but I think it worked in this. I can see people who did like the characters up to this point, like loving this part, and like even I was like pretty won over by it. So
I enjoyed it to some extent, but I was also aware that it was very cheesy and like didn't really need to be like this.
Yeah, but it looked so cool the whole time that I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know, she's crying in this alley and is like, "I hope everyone else got to enjoy the fireworks. Boo-hoo." And then Miyuki shows up and is like, "I'll show them to you." And he also has this line where he's like, "How did I know where you'd be? I predict your movements all the time. It's the same old game," or something.
Mm-hmm.
He leads her to a car with everyone in it. They get
I
in
think
and
this was the point where I went from 2 times speed to 4 times speed.
Oh my god.
Oh, so he gets in they all get in the car and they're driving towards like another fireworks thing that starts later, I guess.
Over in Chiba. It was like
Postponed
delayed because of rain. Yeah.
So they get to watch the fireworks from like inside the car, but I don't think they actually get there in time. But they get to watch them from inside.
They
the
got
car
a good
together.
view. That's
Kaguya got a good view of
Miyuki's face.
Yeah. That was
and
romantic.
She just stares at him.
That was
like,
really romantic. Nobody can tell me otherwise. That was great.
It was a good moment in the show, and like the heartbeats in the background and everything were very good.
Yeah, her heart's beating so loud that she can't hear the fireworks.
Yeah.
Just like Leo.
Does your heart go doki doki, Leo?
my heart is dead.
Oh, he's a zombie. But yeah, the new term then starts after that, and then it's just another like, "Oh, that happened, but we're gonna write it off" type of thing.
Yeah, that's where I came. So I was soaring after that fireworks episode and everything that led up to it. I was like, wow, this is like really fucking good. I can see why people love this show. I'm totally in. And then it just all comes like crashing back down to earth as this long drawn out section where everything returns to normal. And I was just like, oh, Yeah, this is Kaguya.
Yeah. And Miyuki is like so embarrassed by the things that he said that he starts cleaning the office like with the power of a Dragon Ball Z character, apparently. He's just like, "Arr!" And like the light is going. And I especially like the I'll show them to you and the predict Kaguya's thoughts like line are really bothering him. And I do love the part where he listen like seeing himself do it in his head over and over. And then at the end, it's like, presented by Miyuki Shiragane.
The way he says it is really funny, yeah.
I know. And I'm just thinking, like, oh my God, yes, because the way he says it is hilarious. And I think we've all had those moments where we just, like, we go over them over and over in our fucking head because we're so cringed out by what we did. Like, it's that. And I'm like, I feel you. I do. And like his dark past, like that he keeps being like, in my dark past of when I said these things, and it's like, dude, like
it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. And Kaguya ignores Miyuki, I guess because she's embarrassed, and Miyuki thinks she's like angry at him, and they both just avoid each other like the whole day while they clean. And at one point they like get up the courage to talk to each other, and she says, that must have been painful, huh? And like he misunderstands what she means and like is terrified and like runs off, and the whole thing just goes back to normal. The end of the thing is the line, and they went back to normal.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, about the painful thing, what do we even think she was trying to say? Like, I know she probably wanted to express that she like really like it appreciated that he like came for her, and like
I think she just wanted to say thank you.
It just felt so forced that she used the word painful, because that is exactly what like he was imagining in his worst case scenario, that like, oh, like your cliche like attitude and like all your crazy statements were so painful to listen to. And that just felt forced to me. I don't know. It was weird.
It was annoying. I don't know. It's just like, why would you make... It's just another one of those romance animes where, like, I enjoyed it to some extent watching it. We definitely didn't have anything better to cover this season. And there were fun parts. I liked Chika a lot. There were parts where Kaguya did stuff that I thought it was fun. But it's just another one of these romance animes where, like, you could watch the last episode and then the first episode. And, like, that would be fine. Like, nothing happened at all. And it's frustrating.
I mean, I wanted, like, that fireworks stuff felt like progression in a big sense, but it's not really progression. Like, you know, I don't know. They will pick up next season exactly from where they are and do their thing if they do another season. I'm assuming they will.
I hope not.
They probably will. Yeah.
I have a question, though.
Yeah.
Can we finally talk about a fucking good anime this second half of the recording? Please.
Go ahead.
If you really want to.
Talk about a good anime, a really good one.
Dororo.
Dororo.
So we got the second part of the Banmon arc to finish out the first half of the season here. So Hyakkimaru faces down Daigo and asks him, like, what are you? Because he's like looking at him and he sees like the shifting like white flames speckled within his like body, and there's like some red in there obviously because Daigo's an asshole.
Yep.
And so Daigo asks like, why a half-born demon child like Hyakkimaru is still alive, and he orders his men to fire arrows at him. He escapes into like the trees. Meanwhile, Dororo and like Sukeroku are captured by like the Asakura army. And they have, like, Dororo hanging upside down from a tree. And, like, one of the men just, like, punches Dororo in the face and, like, saying that, like, all those who come from beyond the Banmon are from the land of monsters. So they're going to treat them like that.
I think it's interesting that when Daigo said, like, shoot at him, the brother Taho was like, that's my brother.
Yeah. Yeah, Taho's, like, really conflicted. And, like, he's trying to understand, like, why his parents did what they did throughout this whole episode. And yeah, he's kind of on Hyakkimaru's side in some ways. The captives are all thrown in a cave, and then like one of the older men explains to Dororo that like Daigo's people believe they are protected by the god of mercy and not like the demons like the Asakura clan claims. And Dororo also recognizes like this guy has like a bandana like to cover up a cut on his head, and it has the family crest of Daigo's family, and he recognizes it from like the talisman that Hyakkimaru's had since his birth, so he puts two and two together. Tsukuroko is also able to distract one of the guards while like Dororo climbs through a hole in the top of this cavern and escapes into like a nearby stream. And so, yeah, after this, Tahomaru like confronts his mother about Hyakkimaru. Because he's like, do you remember this like demon child from 16 years ago that you had? And she's like, I've never forgotten him. And Tahomaru like still can't believe that they like made this trade and can like call themselves parents. Like, and Daigo like hears this and comes in, and he basically tries to explain like to Tahomaru he doesn't understand. Like there were like famines and epidemics and disasters and war that were all ravaging the land before the deal was made, and this is like made it all worth it. And like Tahomaru says like Daigo only did it for his own ambitions, and Daigo's like, well, the Lord's ambitions are the people's ambitions. Very arrogant thing to say.
An asshole.
Yeah. So Hyakkimaru shows up, and he looks at his parents and Tahomaru, who are all standing together, and he sees like their white wavy outlines, and Daigo's has some red in it, and like he like looks at them and he realizes that they're similar to him, but he like runs off as the archers shoot at him, and Tahomaru kind of wants to like reconcile, but Daigo says that like doing so would mean forsaking their land. He's like, if you want to break the deal with the demons, by all means, go ahead. You go to the Hall of Hell and you tell them. But then you be prepared for the consequences of what's going to happen. Like this land is going to be forsaken. Meanwhile, Tsukuroko and the other prisoners are to be hanged by the Asakura army on the Banmon. Now that like the ghouls guarding it have like been driven away supposedly. And this is how they're like going to declare war on Daigo's clan. And Dororo meets up with Hyakkimaru and like wants to go save Tsukuroko, obviously. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, like Biwamaru, the like priest, like visits the Hall of Hell and sees there's basically like one demon still holding things back, is what it sounds like. That's still locked. And Tahomaru visits after he leaves with his bodyguards, and like as he passes by, Biwamaru like notices that Tahomaru looks just like Hyakkimaru, like from the soul.
There are so many Maros.
Yes, so many Maros. Maru. They're all basically blown out of this building, Tahomaru and his like retainers, by like this demon wind, and he doesn't really seem to have the resolve to like reverse his father's deal.
Well, I think he's struggling a lot with what he believes he should do.
Yeah.
Like part of him knows that what they're doing is wrong, and the other part of him's like, well, but the people like need to be taken care of, and he's having trouble.
And his like personal bodyguards even say like, we're only here because this land flourished, and like your father like made that deal. And so he like think he takes that into consideration also. Meanwhile, like the Asakura army starts to attack like the prisoners. They like fire arrows. Like Tsukuroku's super lucky he doesn't get hit by any arrows. However, it turns out like the Banmon ghouls weren't as gone as they thought they were. They like reappear, and like one of them like jumps on a soldier and just like eats it. And like Hyakkimaru like fights them off and then stands in front of the wall. And one of the troops recognizes Hyakkimaru from having like had his arm cut off, and he's one of the dudes who helped kill Mio.
He's so terrified of him, he falls to the ground and fucking wets himself.
Well, I would be too. And like, so Hyakkimaru almost loses it. He almost flies into a rage because he
like,
sees this guy.
that's the motherfucker who killed the woman I love.
Obviously, like that, yeah. And so Dororo like has to hold him back and says like, "You're not a demon. You're not a demon." And then Tahomaru comes and he apologizes to Hyakkimaru for like what his father did to him, and he makes this whole speech. But he also says like the sacrifice needed to be made to protect their domain. And so he's like buying into this. And Tahomaru says that like Hyakkimaru threatening this compromise makes him a demon to their like domain now. And so he gets off his horse and they face off and start fighting each other while Daigo is watching. And the fight is actually pretty quick. Like Hyakkimaru is like fighting for a little bit, and then like he basically cuts Tahomaru's like right eye, like a vertical slice, because like Dororo is calling out like, you have to like stop this like ghost fox, because it's like returned, and he like sort of cuts it, and then it gets absorbed into the Banmon wall, which like confuses people for a second.
Yeah.
And at this point, it gives time for like mom to show up, and she's got like the broken Buddha statue with her, and she's like looking through the circular top of it, and she has like Hyakkimaru like focused in the center of that circle, and she apologizes for like everything they've done to him, but tells him like she can't save him. They have to keep using him so their domain can survive, and like while she understands that, she also like refuses to let him suffer alone any longer. So she takes like a knife out and just plunges it into her own chest. And she's like,
commits suicide.
She's
which, I mean, I get what she's going for, but this also causes like the wall to break down. So like it was a little bit selfish.
It doesn't necessarily have the effect she wanted. 'Cause, she like asked the demons like, if you want any more human blood, just take mine. And the Buddha statue also like glows green as if it's been like injected with this like sacrifice or something, and it's become like a magical object. The Banman wall like explodes with the energy of the fox, and Daigo's army has to retreat because like there's no barrier now. And Sukiroku is reunited with his mom, which is nice. But in the very end of this episode, we see Biwamaru like pick up this like green broken Buddha statue and like look at it. I assume it's going to be like an important item. It has been all along.
I think the green fades away, doesn't it?
I don't know. I thought it was still green while he was looking at it.
He picked it up and he was looking at it, and it fades away. It
may fade away for now, but it may still be important, I assume. But yeah. But yeah, that's man, I am still like shocked at like this whole showdown happening like halfway through the show. I was like, damn, this is crazy. Like his reunited with his parents, they actually realize who he is, and they have this conversation with him. It's crazy.
And we still have 12 more episodes. That's awesome. Yeah, man, I just really like how they brought forward the dilemma between Hyakkimaru getting his body parts back and the people needing the demons so their land doesn't waste away. It just brings up that moral dilemma of like the sacrifice of one for many.
Yeah, is it like, I mean, it does suck that he has to do that, but at the same time, if he doesn't, then all these other people suffer. But like, it was against his will because he was a baby.
Hyakkimaru didn't get a choice in the matter, and that's like what makes it kind of hard to choose sides.
Yeah,
but in the end, Daigo is still the bad guy because he did sacrifice
his own son
more for his own conquest and not so much for the people.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he can say whatever he wants now, like, but he definitely did it for his own personal reasons as well.
Himself, yeah.
So yeah, excited to continue watching this show. It's really fucking good. So
and I'm surprised that they're making this like plot happen so quickly, because it'll be, like we said before, very interesting to see what will happen after this.
Yeah, for sure. I thought they would save a whole bunch of this stuff for like the last episodes or like the last arc of the anime. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. So that does it for reviews this season. But we also had a couple other shows that we watched outside the podcast. Honestly, not too many things this season. I think we picked most of the good shows. There's not like too much stuff that we didn't cover that was like amazing. But there was one incredible show week to week that I watched, and that was called Rising of the Shield Hero.
I actually also caught up with this because Brains really wanted me to. So yeah.
I group watch this pretty much every week. And I don't know, I was with a group of mixed people. Some people who actually like the show and some people who like hate it. And who get along pretty well, like, because we mostly just joke about it along the way, and people see the show in different ways. Because, like, I can see some of the things that people like about the show, where, like, if you can identify with the main character just getting shit on, and then, like, getting revenge. Like, people like that revenge fantasy, and like, having like rising against the odds, and like having this crazy power. And, like,
but if you think about it, there's like Dororo is another show about getting revenge and rising against the power that has wronged you.
Yeah, but infinitely better.
But it's also an example of him doing it correctly,
way better.
in like not being an asshole, as opposed to Rising of a Shield Hero, where like I enjoy parts of it. I actually think it got much better from the first few episodes.
Yeah, I think it did get a bit better.
Yeah, but like he's still kind of a dick.
And there's like some still like some logical shit that just really pisses me off where like the guy, so like way back in the beginning, the king was pissed at like the shield hero for having slaves. But like the more we learn about the king, we learn that like he like banished like these like people who were like what is it? He banished these people who were like slaves and like demis like from another like city. Like everything that the king does makes it look like he doesn't give a shit about slavery. But like when it comes to the shield hero, I think he just wanted a
reason to hate him.
I think so. Yeah, it's just disgusting.
His daughter told him that he raped her.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Some of the things about this anime's like inner logic just make no fucking sense to me.
Well, the thing is like he just has a bad attitude consistently throughout the thing. And like there are parts where he's not an asshole and does good things, but I don't know, he just annoys me. Like I enjoy watching the show as a whole. I think it's animated well. I think sometimes some of the plots are good, but he has the attitude of someone who's just so entitled. I don't know, like.
So what'd you rate it, Bcom?
Oh, I still have it at a 1 out of 10. Technically I have it at like a 7 out of 100 on AniList. That's a 1 out of 10. So
you watch anything else?
Yeah, but I didn't really. Well, I finished the show you're going to talk about, but so why don't you talk about that one?
Okay, yeah, I actually already said my 2 cents about Mysteria Friends a little bit in an earlier episode. It's only 10 episodes. They're, what were they, 10 minutes each? So it's
something like that, 10 or 12.
Yeah. It's absolutely beautiful show, and like I already said before, I'm just really more than anything looking to see what Side Game Pictures does next. I mean, I give it a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I thought it was solid. The only thing I didn't like about the show is like it just felt like it didn't really go anywhere. Like it was just nice and comfy, basically.
Yeah,
and I was like, that's fine.
Kind of exploring their relationship a little bit, but that's it. Yeah.
I watched like half of, and I plan to finish, but I haven't finished yet. The 2 like Air Force girl shows, like Girly Air Force and Magnificent Kotobuki. I think Magnificent Kotobuki is like quite a bit better, so I should like focus on finishing that one. I just think the dialogue is fun. The dog fights are still like really fun. So I'm gonna like finish that up before like I get too deep into next season. Girly Air Force is really dumb, but in a way that just like makes me laugh. And I just think like the girls being airplanes or like jets is just fucking like a hilarious idea. And so yeah, I just had fun with that show. It's not good, but it's enjoyable.
Is the guy making out with all the aircrafts?
Hell yeah, he is. Well, mostly just like the main one, but Gripen, the Swedish plane.
Okay,
but
so he's doing good. I don't know. I watched the Magical Girl Spec-Ops show.
Oh yeah, I saw some episodes of that like in passing.
Yeah, it let me down some because like I enjoy like edgy shows for like the ridiculous, crazy, gory edge that they give me. And I will still say that Maho Shoujo Sight is like one of the best shows I've ever watched so far for that. I was kind of expecting like another Maho Shoujo Sight, and I was kind of hyped for it because I loved how like fucking ridiculous that show was. It's really not. It's just average.
Can I give a manga spoiler about Maho Shoujo Sight?
Yeah.
Because of how ridiculous it got. So if nobody wants to hear it, tune out for a minute or something.
Yeah, tune out for a second.
Bcom will give you a timestamp. But
no, I won't.
Currently in the manga, the queen that all the admin sites are working for has come alive and turned everybody in the world into sperm to fertilize herself.
Oh, is that what the sperm is about in the ED? What? Is that why there's flying sperm in the fucking ED of the show? I finally understand.
Oh my god!
The only ones who didn't get turned into sperm was people who used the magical sticks. Yes, everybody turns into sperm, and there's just pages of sperm flying through the fucking air in the manga. It is insane.
Oh, man.
Excellent.
That's like a weird porn almost. But yeah, no. Magical Sight is the best show I've seen so far in a long time for Edge, and I was kind of hoping this would be similar. It's also got the magical girl thing, but
I don't know if there's
it's
anything
just
out there that
bleh.
can top the Edge of that show.
I know
but-
that if you guys have love Edge and you haven't seen Magical Girl Sight, I recommend it. This show, not so much. It's not that great. I wouldn't watch this one. I also watched the Quintessential Quintuplets show.
I want to finish that one.
Why
Yeah.
the fuck not? I have
Who's best girl?
long ass time on that treadmill.
I need to know, Kat.
and
Who's best girl?
Not enough shit to watch. The short haired one.
Sure. Oh, is that
Yeah,
Ichika? Maybe?
Ichika or
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah, I think a lot of people like her.
Best.
I think because you relate the most with her, if I had to guess.
Maybe. Yeah, she's the best. It's good.
A lot of
It's
people
not bad.
like,
I would
Miku.
say if you like date shows, if you like just dating sim type shows, you'll like it. It's not great. It's nothing special, but it's entertaining.
I watched a lot of Wise or Wiz, which is the Handshaker sequel. Which
Oh no. How did that go?
it was just a fever dream. Like, I can't describe it. It is. I don't know what the fuck those people are smoking who are making that show, but it is weird.
Something. It's powerful.
It's not good. It's very bad. They listed like all these people who made music for the show on like the credits, and I like the running joke in my group watch was that like literally there was like one song the whole time. Like just like or variations of the same song. It's just like over and over again. It's like I was like, here's that track again. It was so bad. I don't get it. The other one that I kind of like jokingly group watched was Wataten. This Angel Flies Down to Me, which is like the one about the woman who's like a total pedo.
No, you did not watch that show.
I honestly didn't watch most of it, but I did watch the last episode, which was ridiculous because like the girls just put on this like really ridiculously elaborate school play, and it's just weird. And like the pedo is like watching the play, and she's like drooling over everything. Anyway, it is just really dumb, but they go really over the top at the end. It was kind of funny. But yeah, they only ever tease at the pedo stuff. They never go too far because that's how Doga Kobo knows how to walk the line with that stuff and wink at people, but not like follow through. Blah blah blah. Because they would get in trouble if they did, I guess. But yeah, it's really bad. I don't recommend it. But yeah, I think that's everything,
Is that everything?
I watched on the side. Yes.
Cool. We can do final ratings on the shows we watched.
Ooh, we should do a drum roll or something. Like da 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 da. There's like
There you have it.
in the
That was the drum
So
roll. Thank
the
you.
first
Kat.
one's Mob Psycho 100.
That was a beautiful
Season
drum
2.
Oh.
So I guess I'll go first. I had the highest score on this one. In the end, I gave this an 8 out of 10, which I really thought about this a lot. To me, it's probably like a high 7 for me, but I rounded it up to an 8. It's for all the reasons that we talked about over the last few weeks. Basically, like I was really in love with like the first half of this season. And then when they shifted into this like weird battle arc with all these bosses and all of this like philosophical exposition from Mob, I just lost interest in the story, even though like the animation was still off the charts like the entire time. And so that was always something that I could be invested in. But I can understand if like you don't care as much about how things look and you're just like from the moment to moment wanting it to be an interesting, compelling story, you could really fall off of this by the end. I basically rated this exactly the same as how I rated the first season, which is like a high 7, low 8.
That's really not good. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I know you're very aesthetic, and so for you, the aesthetics is why you're rating the show high.
Yeah.
I get that. I can't give it a good, because I think I gave the first season of Mob an 8, and I can't give it the same score because it did all this shit with the plot. It was not a good plot the second half. The first half was good, and I enjoyed it. And if you'd asked me halfway through what I would have given it, I would have given it maybe a 7 or an 8, just like you, Bcom. But for me, the fact that they just completely fucked up the end to the point where I don't even think people would be excited for a season 3. I think they've kind of put a mark on the value of this franchise, especially a franchise that's like got a lot of clout behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Like One Punch Man or Mob Psycho or Attack on Titan does have. I come in with a higher bar.
Yeah, I agree.
In terms of plot and shit. I'm not going to give it a pass. I gave it a 6 because to me, they kind of fucked up.
Okay. I gave it a 7 out of 10. And as I've already discussed with Bcom, it feels like the writing was just stronger in the first half. And then in the second half, they just focused more on animation quality.
Yeah.
I really think it would have just been better if they had balanced that out through the whole thing. Because like episodes like 6 through 10 weren't the greatest, and we were talking about, we're like, are these just setup episodes? Really not caring for them. I mean, I still think it's a good show, but that's my thoughts.
Yeah, and even if they were setup episodes, like I don't feel like they fully knocked it down at the end. Like if they set it up, they didn't knock it down as well as they could have. It worked well enough, but I just didn't feel that invested because we had just met all of these characters, and I didn't really care about them that much.
Yeah.
Kat, how about Run with the Wind?
Okay, so for Run with the Wind, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I absolutely love this show. I just think it's something different. I've never seen a sports anime before where they don't win and it's more about the journey.
Mm-hmm.
Most sports anime are so obsessed with like getting to that final battle and winning the tournament or whatever. And this one is not. And I think it has a lot of value for that reason. It's something unique. You don't see that in anime a lot. You don't see an evolution of a genre very much. I think it deserves a lot of credit and a lot of applause just for that. It's not perfect. There are times where it gets a little dramatic. There's some stuff that's not amazing, but as a whole, I give it a lot of credit, and I would recommend this, and I loved it. So I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Cool. How about you, Leo?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I feel the hate already.
I'm not going to hate.
All right, just hear me out. I gave Run with the Wind a 3 out of 10. I initially was not going to rank the show because it's just not for me. I can recognize that it is still a good show, even though I dislike it so much. To kind of give an example and put in context, if like I was a teacher, one of my students handed in an assignment that was like this show, I would probably have had another teacher grade it for me. But I would definitely recommend checking out if you like sports anime or like just really into running. You definitely would probably really like it. Bcom insisted I still rank it though, so it's his fault that my score is going to bring the average down so far.
Yeah, like, I think you should rank it because like I don't think you should be. I don't know. I don't think you should have to like hide like how you feel about something.
So
like, yeah.
Based off my personal entertainment level,
Yeah.
That's why it got the score I gave it.
Yeah, and I think that's fair.
Okay.
So I ended up at a 7 out of 10 with this. I was really happy that they didn't go with any of the cliche endings that we predicted, like Haiji like crossing like the finish line like with like the help of somebody or like injured.
Yeah,
or like
I liked that.
Or them just winning the race either. They finished somewhere in the middle, and like it felt really satisfying regardless. And yeah, it fit the tone of the show really well. I do think like over the whole course of the series, like it got overly cheesy at times. I felt like it could have been more hype at times, especially like in the early parts of the show. I also think they left certain things hanging, like Hana, which was just like a big cock tease the whole time.
That was really the only interest I had in that show.
Yeah, and
no closure.
Yeah, and speaking of like the closure, like they told us a little bit about how the other guys ended up after running, but like it was just like a little tiny scene at the end. I'd love to see like an epilogue OVA that's like a little bit more about like where they all ended up. And I also felt as much as they did build up some of the characters over the course of the show, a lot of them they tried to build up all at once, like in that last running arc. Like a lot of the exposition about their backstories came in those episodes dedicated to them running their legs. And so I felt like some characters came up a bit short because of that. But all in all, I still felt it was like very solid sports show. It took a little bit longer to set up than I feel like they really needed to, but it paid off pretty well. So 7 out of 10.
Okay. Moving on to Kemurikusa. I gave it a 7 out of 10. It has one hell of a story. It was very mysterious and intriguing the whole way through. Had so much my attention. But if only the animation would have been better.
Yeah.
This thing would have been... I think Bcom and I would have just been praising the shit out of it if the animation was as good as the story.
Yeah, so I gave it a 6 out of 10, and it's mostly, just held back by, like, really poor jank animation, and just, like, really strange directing decisions at times, though, like, there were other times, like, with the last episode where I thought the directing was, like, really strong, but there's all sorts of points, even in the last episode, where, like, scenes cut off, like, earlier than they really should. Like, the flow of the whole thing feels weird and wonky. But, like, it's otherwise, like, the type of anime I'd like to see a lot more of, where it's, like, a bit experimental and it's not afraid to be, like, super weird and different, but still pull together, like, this really compelling story by the end if you can be invested in it. So I put this, like, around the same level as, like, A Girl in Twilight, maybe a little bit lower because, like, the production side of things was just so janky. So, yeah.
I gave it a 4 out of 10 because I didn't enjoy it at all, and I was annoyed.
Then why'd you give it a 4? That's so high. No,
I was nicer than Leo.
All right. Promised Neverland. I gave this a 7 out of 10. I was a little bit harsh on this, I feel like, but
A little bit.
the last 2 episodes of this actually brought my score up a bit because they were so good. I felt the show was kind of average up to that point, and a lot of my issues, it's funny saying this in comparison with Kemurikusa, but like there were just also like weird cinematography decisions in this that I was like making fun of, like that took me out of the show, where like the long like first person point of view shots
Those
down
were
hallways
so weird.
that just served no purpose whatsoever, and like fucking Norman's like twisty hips, like all these weird things, and like the character designs and their weird ass faces, and
It's
like
just so visual. It's just odd.
it just takes me out of like the narrative like all the time. And there are definitely times where this anime like really just hit you in the balls, like the first episode, the last episode, like, and a couple things in between. But like a lot of the time I was just sitting around like bored out of my mind watching this. But I think they really like wrapped it up in the end, and like they impressed me with the relationship between Isabella and Ray and how that all played out. But like things like Krone's character kind of brought this down a little bit, and I think Emma is a little bit like annoying, and just like super genki character who I don't usually like that archetype. But yeah, 7 out of 10. It's solid. I will watch a season 2 when they inevitably make it.
Yep.
Yeah. I gave it a 9 out of 10. I thought this was one of I think actually this is the most promising show of the season. They're going to do a season 2.
Pun intended.
Yeah, but they're going to do a season 2. I'm psyched. Like the way they take this character that you are like, oh, this person is evil and da 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 da, and they make you sympathize with her and you understand. Like they make you understand more about her and like how this could happen. Like that is so moving to me, and it's not something you see much in anime, and I think it needs to be highlighted.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. Pretty much the same thing Bcom said. I just wasn't as harsh as he was about it.
Yeah.
I think stopping for a season, I think they did a real good job of like wrapping things up, but still leaving like enough of a cliffhanger you want to know more. So like, yeah, I praise them for doing that.
Yeah, this felt like a satisfying ending to me. Like I can wait on this ending. It was a good time to end this show. Which
Like I mean, I would love for it to keep going.
Yeah.
But it's a satisfying ending. You know that next season is going to all be about them coming back and saving the other kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like
and exploring the outside if they
I think it's going to be them trying to survive first, and then they'll go back to saving
it'll
them.
be so fascinating to see what the outside is like. Like, oh man,
Mm-hmm.
they have built such a just an amazing world in this anime.
Yep.
I have heard people say that like it's all downhill from this part.
I don't hear it.
I have heard people say that, so I don't know if I should trust them or not. But like, yeah, I've heard that said, so it's interesting.
Cat.
All right, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. There are parts of it where I'm like, that was written terribly. Like the part with Narencia and the like the tongue thing.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? Like, how are you not realizing? I was so frustrated. But then there were also parts where I really love this anime. And honestly, like the first opening song, like da na na na,
That was a fun opening.
like,
Yeah.
oh man, I loved this anime. It was fun. Not everything about it makes sense, but it's very fun and silly. It's enjoyable. 7 out of 10 for now.
Yep. Same here. 7 out of 10. I mean, it's JoJo. Kat just said it. It's fun. It doesn't always have to make sense, but it does say bizarre adventure in the title. So yeah. What do you become?
For me, it's also like it's JoJo, and that's why I gave it a 5 out of 10. Because like it's just like perfectly average to me. Like some parts about like the animation stuff are really cool, but like the story is just like it's the kind of dumb that like I can't get behind sometimes. Where it's just like this is just so dumb that it hurts. And these characters are being so fucking dumb. And I know it's supposed to be funny, but I'm just getting frustrated with them. But like I'm still not like hating it or anything. Like I just think it's perfectly down the middle for me. And I also just started group watching part 4. So we'll see how I feel about that too.
Nice.
Oh, part 4. That's
Diamond
Unbreakable.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So
okay. Oh Jesus. Domestic Girlfriend gets a 2 out of 10 from me. I'll give it 1 point for just not like looking god awful or anything, and I'll give it the second point because the girls are providing some new fat material. And with that being said, also remember to close and lock your goddamn doors when you're cranking one out.
that's something we all learned from this show. Valuable information.
And sock puppet creatures.
Oh my god, I forgot about the sock puppets. How could I forget?
Always seduce young children with sock puppets.
See, this show teaches us so many valuable lessons, and that's why I'm giving us at least a 5 out of 10. This is a
Something
super
wrong with
entertaining
you.
trash with a super bad ending, in my opinion.
It's so fun.
Actually, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. I would watch like 10 more seasons of this, let's be honest. No, I'm just joking. It's a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, same reason for me. I also gave it a 5 out of 10. Like it's just like the whole thing you're yelling at the screen, but that's the fun of it. It's a hate watch. It's so bad it's good type of thing.
Yeah. I think they were really good about being so earnest about the stupid bullshit they were presenting.
I know. That's what makes it great. Like not so screaming at the sky.
That reminded me of like Bunny Girl when Sakata screams like "I'm a virgin." Like, it is like on that level of screaming.
Like it's good.
Oh man! All right, Kaguya-sama, Love is War. I ended up with a 6 out of 10 for this. And I think the last episode actually brought it up for me. But yeah, the whole show was just very hit or miss for me. My main issue was that I just really didn't like the dynamic between the main duo or like many of their interactions. Several like strong side characters made up for that in part, like with Chika obviously leading the pack. Like I think she is one of the best supporting comedic characters like in recent memory. She's so fucking good.
She deserves a medal for like best supporting. Like, they had anime awards
because like not only does she like she's not only entertaining on her own, like she brings up everybody else just by being in scenes with them and makes them more enjoyable. So yeah, she's
actually,
like the definition.
It's not a category in anime awards.
Oh yeah,
I don't think it is.
Well, it is in like
that needs to be a category
in the Reddit anime awards. I was in. Yeah, supporting comedic is a category because we are the best. But yeah, so I assume she will do very well in that category at the end of next year or this year.
Yeah.
I grew to like Kaguya and Miyuki more as the season came to a close.
I hated them even more.
But yeah, they're still kind of annoying, and it's clear that they're going to string this whole thing out for a super long time before we get any real closure. But I'd certainly watch more of this in the future if they make another season, especially if the director of Rakugo returns to work on it, because I think his direction really made this a enjoyable watch for me, where it really would have been boring if it was just some lesser director or studio. I also realized when I was writing this that this anime ended just like another romance anime, with two characters looking at fireworks and not confessing to each other. So I just wished Gekon Shoujo no Zaki-kun would come back.
I will never watch a second season unless Kat inevitably locks it again.
Yeah, I mean, it's... I actually was at a 7 into the last episode. Like, it's enjoyable trash mostly. It's just like, it's good, but it's not great. But the fact that it's once again a show where nothing happens and there's no development.
I can't
just
believe
really
you gave it a
irritating.
positive score when you said you could watch the last and the first episode and miss nothing in the middle. That to me is
but
a
it's
sign
enjoyable
this is a
during.
bad show.
It's enjoyable during. So like for me, it is a mediocre show, but it's not terrible, right? Like it's just mediocre and has no point. So I'll still give it a 6. I think the highest I would give it is a 6. And the fact that Chica is entertaining and you laugh at some things makes it that 6. But it can never rise to the level of a decent show because it is basically just placeholding. It's just nothing happens. It's just a shot in time.
I mean, like, and that is like the whole joke of the anime, that it's never going to get anywhere until it eventually does, probably. But yeah.
I give it a 4.5 out of 10. To me, this show is a disaster. I don't even know what those last 2 episodes were about. It was such a shift in tone. It was like an entirely different show.
Yeah.
And I don't even understand why the 2 main characters even like each other. They're just assholes the entire time toward each other. Like, they just think each other's just the hottest person in the world. I don't know. But what really bothered me the most was the jokes. They were all mostly the same 3 jokes, and they just weren't good. Like,
Yeah.
for most jokes to work, that you need some kind of element of surprise or like something unsuspecting. And since there was 3 same jokes, I just ended up like pretty accurately predicting them the whole time. Like I even went into our Discord. I'm like, is anybody else predicting like each plot as soon as it starts?
I remember I saw you type that, yeah.
I mean, and I really can't recommend this anime to anybody. It only got that 0.5 because Chica every once in a while actually will deliver a funny line or do some funny action.
All right.
Yeah.
Do we all want to say
Dororo.
Do you want to say our Dororo scores at the same time?
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
It's 8 out of 10.
It's an 8. It's a solid 8, I think. It's an example of a show where it's off to a great start. We don't really know how it'll go. Did you catch that for a second?
Yeah, it's off to a great start.
It's a great start.
I did catch that.
It's great. It's off to a great start. The show does just about. I mean, it's good. Like I don't know what the arc will be after this, and I'm a little interested to see. It could be bad. You never know. Sometimes you have these shows that they start out great and they don't end great.
I literally don't know what I could complain about this show. It just pretty much does everything pretty much right. And like to me, if it keeps up the pace it's going, I will end up giving this easily a 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
as long as it doesn't shit the bed.
I can see that
the
happening.
2 jewels of this season are Promised Neverland and Dororo. Everything else you could take or leave. These 2 shows are the ones from this season.
Yeah, so I also gave Dororo an 8, and I just think it has been so consistently good. The direction is strong. Even though it's an episodic week-to-week show, which I typically don't like those kind of shows unless there's something special about them, I felt that every arc that they've had, whether it be a 2-episode arc or 1 episode, had been like interesting in some way, with like very few exceptions, where there was like 1 or 2 episodes where I was like, this is kind of boring. But like always we're like moving the plot forward. We're learning more about Hyakkimaru. Hyakkimaru is unlocking more body parts. Dororo's like existence is being like understood better, and like who she is. And yeah, like the whole arc with Mio was fantastic. And like just the way they closed out the first half was so strong and unexpectedly strong too, that I'm very excited for the second half. I think this is a great adaptation.
Yeah. Basically, we just really, really liked it.
Yeah.
All right, you want to talk about favorites? My favorite from the season was Dororo. I gave it the highest score, which was the 8.
And for me, the two gems were Dororo and Mob Psycho season 2. And Cat.
Promised Neverland for the win.
Gave it the big 9.
Nice. Nice.
Would you guys like to add anything else?
Just that I thought this season we chose pretty good shows. I don't think there was too much outside of what we chose that was like really standout. Looking forward to next season.
Yeah.
I am too. I'm excited.
Okay. Thanks for listening. Write a review. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube to get updates on new podcasts or videos. Write a review. You can also find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher, and follow us on Twitter at NerdMother for updates as well. Remember to write a review, and also come hang out with us on Discord. The link to join will be in the description. Write a review, and with that, we'll see you next season.
Bye.
Have fun at Beer Fest, Cat.
Oh, I will. I'm going to be drunk the rest of today.
See you next season.
Bye.
Later.